Control-Alt-Redeem is for anyone called to ministry in the digital frontier, gamers, streamers, and everyday believers navigating life online. Each episode equips you to live on mission and the real stories of lives being changed. Reset your expectations, reframe your mission, and redeem the space you're already in. This is where digital ministry gets practical, creative, grounded, and hopeful. One episode at a time.
Welcome in, everybody, to Control-Alt-Redeem. Working to reset the culture and redeem the space. And today, I get the privilege of having KattieBugg VT on the program with me. Welcome in, Katie.
Hi. It's a pleasure to be here.
And we've got a bunch of people already in the chat. Welcome in, River, Elaine Light, Fedorable Will. It is going to be fun. I just have that feeling. We've already been chatting a little bit before we got started, and I was trying to make sure we were paying attention so we didn't just keep talking and forget to go live. So welcome in, everybody.
Yeah, that is wise.
I was talking about earlier before we started that the last time I had someone on that was not physically present, and I put all of the data in there to go and edit and do all of that, it like blocked out the first half hour of the podcast because it didn't see any lips moving, which is really a weird thing to me. Like the AI sometimes is so smart, it's not very smart.
It's so smart, it's dumb.
I know. Well, you know what? It kind of reminds me at times of different friends I had that like they might be close to a 4-point back in the day. They were really smart. One of them was a friend of dating my best friend, I should say. And she kept talking about, look at all those deer over in the field over there. Look at all those deer. And nobody could figure out what deer she was talking about. And we finally figured out she was talking about all the cows that were out in the field.
I love that.
I don't know why a high schooler had no idea what a cow was, but it wasn't that she was not smart. There was just something hilarious about that I've never forgotten. So
were they brown cows at least or no?
I don't remember. They might have been brown cows. They might have been brown cows, and we shouldn't give her such a hard time. But
it's okay. My high school did a thing where they went around asking people if they knew what a pipeline was. Because we had people come into our school and put a bunch of flags all over the ground. So they're like, do you know why those flags are there?
Oh.
And hearing some of those answers were hilarious.
Oh, I bet.
It's like, oh boy.
Sorry, that just and I love how we could start the conversation anywhere and just go. But it reminds me of where they would go ask elementary school kids, and the question would be there, and all the answers would be in the newspaper. When you live in a small town, they'll go interview, and there's a post that goes around, so you probably can find this, of an elementary kid that's going on with this really existential answer about what worries you in life, and then the next kid is like, what worries me is that kid. And
I saw a meme about that basically today, except it was like two streamers in chat worried about the two streamers.
Oh.
They were both having like existential crises in different directions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that could happen all over the place. Oh, but anyway, by the way, if you are here live today, the intro for season 2 has gone live today on Spotify. So I know everybody listening to this on the VOD later, that means nothing to you other than you can go watch and listen to all of this on Spotify. So once a week, one of the podcasts will go live. I will gradually, we're going to work on getting it in other places besides Spotify. When those other places are up and ready to go, hopefully we'll be on other platforms besides Spotify and YouTube to watch the VODs, or just binge listen to while you're doing other things. So I'm pretty excited about that, honestly.
Yeah, you should be. That's exciting.
Yeah. I had no idea when I started last year, because at this point last year, I had no plans on doing a podcast. So it came about probably around March, April, the idea for it. So I haven't even been doing it a year. And initially I said, I know that statistically, if you don't make it to 10 episodes, your podcast probably is not going to last. So I'm
Oh.
like, until I get 10 episodes in the bag, I don't want to publish it anywhere. We'll just do it live. If it works, it works. We'll keep going. I hope I'm a whole lot better now than I was a year ago in that. You're going to leave a 5-star review on Spotify. Dude, I love it. I love it. So the first full episode will be out next week. And then there'll be one episode a week dropping once we, like I said, once I get the other platforms available besides Spotify and YouTube, then I'm going to start dropping the 35 episodes from season 1. So that's going to be fun.
That is cool.
But I don't think I'm going to run out of guests anytime soon. I have all my friends.
I don't think so.
All my friends from Reach Conference. I've got all my friends from all the other places that I know people online, in Taco and in Hopeful Disasters and in DC4C. I've had all kinds of people on. So it's like, unless I stop meeting people, which is highly unlikely, unless I stop meeting people, I already have enough people to do the podcast once a week for the next 5 years, I think. So
Dang.
it's probably just, though, convincing some of them to be on the podcast will be the difficulty, getting them to come in and to share and to talk, or schedule issues. But
yeah, I can see scheduling being a thing.
yeah, I do have one thing I want to reveal at the end of the podcast of a teaser that just was a thought in my mind this week. And so I want to tease that for people at the end of it. So I love doing this, like a little teaser, and I'm not even going to talk about it. I'll remember at the end, hopefully. And you won't get to the end.
I'll remind you, hopefully.
Yeah, you won't get to the end of 2.5 hours and go, what did he even tell me about? I listened this whole time and I heard nothing. But it is so good to have you on here, KattieBugg. I like to always start with, where and how did you get introduced to the platform Twitch? What was that experience like? And then if that is different, then how did you decide to get started as a Twitch streamer? Because some people start all at the same time. Some people, there's a time gap between there. And then if there's also a time gap between being a streamer and intentionally being a Christian streamer in the space, what that decision was. So, I just leave it open-ended. Tell me what you want.
Yeah,
If there's something intriguing, I might interrupt and ask you about it, or I'll come back to it later. So.
No. So I found about Twitch through a friend who was watching a streamer named Ben Smash at the time. I don't know if he's still around, but so that's how I found Twitch. And then I started like following all these different people. At the time it was horror, because I was like into like Dead by Daylight and things like that. And so that went on, and then the pandemic hit. I was laid off of work, had all this money. Had a ton of video games, and I'm like, I bet I could be a streamer too. And so then I started streaming in 2020, and I started with like horror games, because that's what I watched, that's what I like. I'm like, oh, you can make it big as a horror streamer. And I started with just a webcam my brother gave me, and a little computer that was like $700, because it was on sale. And I was like, let's give this a go. And then a friend introduced me from Prayers from Abigail.
Oh, yes. I remember her.
And I was like, what is this? Like, she has a motto? What is that? And at the time, like when I started as a streamer, I wasn't a Christian streamer. Like, I would occasionally talk about God and like be like, yeah, I love Jesus. Like, like he's cool. Like, if you want me to read the Bible, I can do that. But like, I'm a Christian who makes content, not a Christian content creator.
Yep.
And so then I found Abby, and I started really watching her and how she did it. And it was an inspiration to me to figure out how I can do what I do and also influence the space and while loving Jesus. And then I was like, oh, I should try this VTubing thing. And then I did that like a year later.
So were
on
you
my anniversary.
Were you doing VTube and still doing horror?
For a little bit. When I switched to VTubing, started to do like a lot of Genshin Impact, like Final Fantasy, so like lots of like gacha and RPGs and otome games. So Japanese romance novels with, I have to specify, it's a Japanese romance novel with a female protagonist who romances men.
Okay.
An otome game is not a visual novel, and a visual novel is not always an otome game.
And I don't know any of those. So you like
that is okay.
Yeah. That's the romance novel thing has never been in my wheelhouse. So
I've been playing otome games since I was in high school. So yeah.
I could definitely see, the appeal, because romance novels have had appeal for a long time.
Yeah.
It would make sense that those would in some way find their way to move into video game genre somewhere.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And so I've been doing it ever since.
Cool. So I like how you distinguish with a streamer who is a Christian, not a Christian streamer. And I think that's an important distinction. And I think you could be on either side of that category.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Myself as even today, as a streamer who is a Christian, not a Christian streamer. For a while, I was classifying myself as a Christian streamer, and actually had more issues when I was classifying myself as a Christian streamer, because of some of the games that I play. People are like, "That's not godly," and I'm like, "It's a video game. Like, not every TV show you watch is godly either. Okay, that doesn't mean I don't love Jesus."
Yeah, that's a whole separate side thing, but we could actually go down that trail for a little bit there, because I've had other people on the podcast too that are in that realm of horror or other areas where there's a classification that people will put and say that you can't be a Christian and do that. And I don't think that, I should say, I think there are things that absolutely that is true, but I also think that there are some things that are neither good nor bad. They are neutral. And for some people, it might be okay. And for other people, it may not be okay.
Yeah.
And to classify everything that's not okay for you as not okay for any Christian, just how are you going to then reach the people that are in that realm, in that sphere, that are doing that? Like, I remember, and this is totally unrelated, but I remember having a Christian biker association come to my church, and a bunch of other people in the community were all upset because Christians can't be bikers. It was like, these are all people that formerly were in, well, not all, but many of them were formerly in biker gangs. They came to Christ. They will still had bicycles. They still wanted to go and ride. They wanted to no longer be in the community they were in. So they created their new community with other like-minded people. And it was like, we know this culture, we're redeeming this culture, and we're going to redeem the space. And when you just say, no, you can't be Christian and do that, it's like you're leaving a whole bunch of people outside of what Christians can be.
I knew there was a church back in Minnesota when I lived there that was a church geared at bikers, where like the pastor would literally, he had a ramp up onto the stage where he would ride his bike up onto the stage. And when I was a teenager when I heard this, and I was like really legalistic and snooty hooty, I was like, no, that's like not honoring God. And then like now I'm like 30 and I'm like, bruh, no, that's so cool. Like there's also a church in New Orleans that like meets upstairs, like the downstairs is a bar and the upstairs is like a worship center. And so many people have been like set free and redeemed because this man had a calling to make a bar to introduce people to Jesus.
Oh yeah, and there's many other avenues and many other places. Yeah. What really is like something I like when I started in seminary, I would not have expected this. Let me put it that way. So, like 2001 is I got to follow.
LPXXX 9001 just followed.
Thank you for the follow, IP XXX 9001. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but welcome in. Thank you for the follow.
Welcome.
So I would not have had expectation that pastors would have tattoos. And I don't mean from the standpoint of you couldn't be redeemed, already have tattoos, and become a pastor. But the number of pastors I know, all of them younger than me for the most part, who went through seminary, and then in seminary or around there, or while they were in Bible college, they went and got Bible verses tattooed on them. And
I love that.
And it's like, I have no problem with it, but it's like the strictness of the era that I grew up in. It's like, oh my goodness, the number of people that would be opposed to this outright, just from you can't be a pastor and have a tattoo. So it's like, we are always, the Christians are always the one who are putting the box around God and putting the box around other people and pointing the finger and saying, you can't do that and be a Christian. And it seems like the Pharisees kept pointing the finger at Jesus and saying, you can't love God and do all those things you're doing and hang out with those people you're hanging out with.
Yeah. It's kind of like how, while you were talking about on your stream earlier about systematic theology.
Oh, yeah.
And how it doesn't always work, because then you're trying to tie things together. I think that happens too with like the laws in the Old Testament and trying to bring them into today. It's a lack of like actual like understanding of what's going on in the text, and they're trying to make all these things work together that don't work together because there were like relevance.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of the debates that Jesus ran into were all around, is the interpretation of the law. When you have two things that are opposed to each other, which one wins? You know, is love your neighbor as yourself win, or does obey the Sabbath win? Because if your neighbor's donkey falls in a well or in the ditch or in a hole, can you help it get out on Sunday, or do you leave it trapped in there? If you find your neighbor's livestock roaming around your field on the Sabbath day, can you return it, or do you let it eat your field? Like, what do you do and not do? So it's the problem, I think, on some level. This is the way I usually try to phrase it, is we want to just have a checkbox of yes and no. And the problem is, life is about wisdom. What do you do in this circumstance, and what do you do in that circumstance? I've constantly tried to use that phrasing with my kids, not of, is this right or wrong? What's the wise thing to do in this circumstance?
That's wise. I have no other words. That's inspiring, though. In all honesty, as someone who wants to have kids one day, rather than teaching them what right and wrong, teach them wisdom. Like Proverbs teaches, seek wisdom, and she'll lead you.
Right.
And
right.
I'm just like,
yeah. And it's not that like some things aren't always wrong. Okay. There are things that are always wrong. We don't usually have a problem with things that are always wrong. What we usually have a problem with is all those things that are life, that are gray areas, that maybe it's okay, maybe it's not okay. How do I make decisions around this? And if all you know is check the box, you end up doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, or you do the wrong thing for the right reasons. And it's really a difficult thing to do. Like,
yeah. It's like I had a conversation once when I was in Bible school that there are commandments in the Bible that we're supposed to follow, and then there's personal convictions, and your personal convictions are not my personal convictions, and you cannot force them upon me, just like I will not force mine upon you, but I'll try to honor yours if you make them known, like on like TV shows or like video games and things like that. But you can't, like, I went through this season where people constantly force their personal convictions on me, so I couldn't do a lot of what I loved because there was always conflict and fighting about it. And I'm just like, there is such a thing as being too legalistic and taking things too extreme.
Oh, yeah. And Fedora Will's just jumping in here with it as well. There's a difference between being sinful and being unwise is an important distinction to learn.
Yes.
What
we talked about that a bit last night.
Oh, did you? Yeah, you've been on. Yeah. You were just on his podcast last night, so I gotta go back and find that episode once it comes out and listen to it. I was not able to be there, but
it's okay. It was an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I'm still going back and listening to the conversation I had with him, and I've been posting a few things this week from it. It's like, oh man, we had some really good conversation. I need to get.
Yeah, I was there for part of your conversation. Well, not all of it. I want to go back and finish it, but I did like what I heard. I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah. I love the approach that he like. This thing is like he will eventually be on this podcast. I'm convinced. I don't know when we'll get to that.
Yes, I'm here for it.
But it's like just the way that he approaches his questions are so good. That's what I want to say I love about Fedorable Will is the way he frames his questions. He caught me a couple of times in the framing of questions because it's like I was going to answer one way and you framed the question a little bit differently. And I went, oh, I was ready to answer this way. You framed it that way. I have to pause and think, and I actually think I'm going to answer it differently just because of how you framed it. So that was really fun. So if you haven't listened to that podcast, go find it wherever Fedorable Will is at. It'll be there.
Yes, go listen. Do it. Just not right now. Finish this first.
Yeah, finish this first. Oh, I know. Like we were just talking about those rules and guidelines and the difference between check marks and not check marks. So
yeah.
I all of a sudden remembered an event in my life I have not thought about in years. I don't even know the last time I thought about this. The strictness of things. My parents got divorced when I was, 12 or 13, whatever it was. My dad got remarried within a year. I would go visit him and get up on Sunday, play video games before church, and then go to church. And then all of a sudden, it was, you cannot watch TV and you cannot play video games before we go to church.
Interesting.
All right. There's no
Do you know why?
No. They just, it's Sabbath and you can't play or something that was along those. It's so long ago, I don't remember. But it was like, well, then there's no reason for me to get out of bed. So I would just lay in bed until a half an hour before we had to go to church and then get up. And it was like, why don't you get up? Because you took away everything I can do. Why would I get up and sit in a chair and be bored and have nothing to do?
When I can lay in bed and be bored.
I could just lay in bed and be bored. Exactly. So I'm not getting up. But it's one of those funny things where, something was okay. And then for whatever rational reason or strictness reason, I don't remember. And I wasn't there every week. So the pastor could have been preaching on something. And they took it to heart. They tried to apply it and be a good parent. I'm not discrediting them. I'm just saying at times I'm going to respond and react a certain way. And that was one of those times where it was, hey, you can't play video games on Sunday. Okay, then I won't get up. I'll stay in bed.
Yeah, I can't exactly relate to that because like my parents were kind of. My mom and dad divorced when I was 6. And then he stopped coming around really when I was 12. So my mom like had other guys in and out. She's been married like 4 or 5 times. And so there was like different rules of strictness, but she was pretty loose on what she allowed us to watch. Except SpongeBob. We weren't allowed to watch SpongeBob.
That's
that's
funny.
I could watch horror movies. I could watch rated R movies. I could watch like all these other things, but SpongeBob was a no-go.
That's so funny because there were things that I didn't let my kids watch. They didn't understand necessarily why, but SpongeBob was fine by me. It's like it's silly, it's ridiculous. It's
so dumb.
It's so dumb.
but
I didn't let them watch Dragon Ball Z, and so my daughter did not understand why I didn't let them watch that. So her husband one time was questioning me about that, thinking it was for religious reasons. And I'm like, no, she had 2 brothers that like to fight. I was not going to have them watching a cartoon that was fighting and going to escalate fighting. So no, it was strictly around, are my kids going to watch this and model what they see, and it's going to come out in fighting? So it was like, no, all of those anime that were fighting, it's like, no, they're not going to. So
yeah, half of the anime back then was just fighting, like Naruto, Inuyasha, DBZ.
Yeah.
It's funny because the twin and I, Elaine, grew up watching WWE, which is worldwide entertainment. Oh, the shenanigans we got up to.
Well,
I remember there was one time we had a bunch of friends over and we were all like play fighting, and one of us thought it was a good idea to jump over the back of the couch, and the couch fell backwards, I think onto one of the kids, is how my mom tells the story.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, well, maybe, I don't know, when you have like a bunch of girls who like, because we have an older brother, and so he liked to fight, we like to play fight, our friends like to play fight. Probably not wise. I was watching a bunch of shows teaching us how to fight.
Yeah, and it depends too. You know, I mean, I grew up with a lot of different things and watched a lot of stuff my parents didn't know I watch. But that was early back when cable was brand new. And all they knew was, 3 channels. Well, we got cable. There's lots of stuff. So they didn't know what was on, But you would hear at school what was on, and you'd go explore and find whatever, latest, greatest thing was out there. And watching, Jean-Claude Van Damme and, Rambo and whatever those movies were coming out that were like, they're not kid friendly. And we were all watching them. We're all watching those in middle school. So.
Oh, yeah. I would say the good old days, but like being where I'm at now in life, I don't want to be overly rigorous with my kids, but I do want to shelter my kids as someone who wasn't sheltered and also teach them how to navigate situations. Because like the reality of it is they're going to be exposed to things. Like all I can do is hopefully teach them how to navigate those situations wisely and try to like prevent them from like my mom's theory at my house was, well, you're going to see it somewhere, so you might as well see it at home. And I don't love that theory because then I was exposed to a ton of stuff and had a ton of struggles.
Yes.
At the same time, it's like, hey, let's have a conversation of what you could potentially see like at a friend's house or like, if you're like out and about, like the music you might hear if you go to a Walmart and things like that.
Right. Well, and I think that's also for a kid. I don't know if it was effective or not, but this in my mind makes sense. If rather than say, we don't believe in doing that or we think it's right or wrong, if you just come from the standpoint of, I don't think that's a wise thing for me to do, it's a much more defensible thing for a kid to hold on to and their friends to not attack them for not going along with other people, Yeah,
I heard there's this pastor that I listen to. His name is James. He's over in the UK. But there was one time his kid was like out playing with like older kids and he came home swearing. He's like, hey, the dad's like, where did you learn to say that? He's like, oh, my new friends. He's like, I think it's unwise for you to hang out with them if you're going to start talking like that because that's not like appropriate language. And so once he was a little bit like a couple of weeks later or so, he went out and his friends were like, why aren't you hanging out with us anymore? He's like, it's unwise because I don't want to swear because swearing isn't cool. I was like, yes. Right. I cheered for that kid.
Oh yeah, that sounds really awesome to be able to think through it that way. Like I said, you get ownership that way too. Is this a wise thing for me to do or not do? Also, instead of saying if all your friends jumped off the bridge, would you? Well, maybe. What bridge are we talking about? And what are the rewards for jumping off the bridge? There's some.
Does the bridge have a rope? Like, is it a rope?
Right. Are we bungee jumping off of the? Like, I need a little more information here, Mom.
Right.
Before I could give you an answer. Maybe is the correct answer until I have more information. Friends jump off bridge. Where?
That's me loving those. Like, where? What are we doing? Why?
Supersonic, is the water frozen? Very good question this time of year.
That is an important question. That is an important
question. Yes. And I'm just thinking, the water. No, we had warm temperatures the last 2 days, so the water would not be frozen under my local bridge. Yeah, water freezes. Next temp is nice.
I saw a video of this woman who was lived next to a lake and they broke the lake apart so they could like swim in the ice water. And I'm like, that's resolve right there, man. I don't think I could do it.
Well, near me, there is a January 1st polar group that always goes and takes the polar plunge on January 1st every year.
Oh, whoa.
And
I was going to say that hasn't happened yet, but January 1st just.
Yeah, January 1st already happened. And I can't remember, they're usually raising money for charity as well. I can't remember if it's the Boys and Girls Club or something like that. And so they go and do this and they raise funds and it supports local community to be able to do it. Plus they get their props and accolades for doing all that. And I stay home where it's nice and warm. So.
Hey, that's me. Because in Minnesota, they would do the polar bear plunge. And everyone's like, Katie, you got to do it. I'm like, nah, I'm good. You'd have better luck of me jumping in the snow in my swimsuit than getting in that water.
Yeah, God put ice over it for a reason. That's my thought.
So we could walk on it.
Yeah.
I heard.
The health benefits. I just reading what Fedorable said there about the health benefits of cold showers and polar plunges. There appears to be I'm still not convinced that I'm going to do it.
I'm not either.
No, I'll just skip those health benefits.
I'll take colder showers in the winter. Like, I won't take as hot showers. So, like, then I'm not, like, shivering when I'm coming out of the shower. But, like, I'm still taking warm showers. They're just not scalding hot.
Well,
unless it's extra cold, then I'll use it to heat up the whole bathroom.
I will out myself here, but I'm really, this was a gift I got from my wife. Is a towel warmer, and it's on a timer. So when she would get up in the morning, and she doesn't have to go into work anymore, she's just totally remote. But so that the timer would go on in the morning, warm up the towel, so that when she got out of the shower in the morning, her towel would be nice and warm, so she wouldn't shiver when she got out of the shower in the morning. So
they had those on sale for Black Friday, and I was tempted to buy one, except my apartment isn't super huge.
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't really have a place for that. And the future goals when I have a big house.
Yeah, absolutely. And the wall mounted one is the way to go. It totally is.
Ooh. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it's wonderful when you step out of a shower to have a warm towel. Even if it's summer, it still feels really good. Really good. All right. We have been way off on a tangent here for a while, which is great, because it really comes back to a lot of the conversations that we were having at Reach, which have to do with how are other people judging us for what God is calling us to do. And so I don't think I've asked it that way of other people that I've had on. I've asked, what obstacles have you faced? But I'm going to ask it, I think, that more directly. How have you, because we already alluded to it, faced criticism from the Christian community for being a VTuber, for being a Christian streamer, and doing it the way that you're doing it?
I mean, people generally don't understand it. I mean, this goes back to my childhood too, though, because I always kind of liked anime. I like games, which was always kind of a guy's thing. And then as I got older and I got into more gaming and got into VTubing, the church is like, well, there's not a need for that on the internet. You're not really spreading the gospel. You're just playing games. What are you really doing with your time? Oh, so now you're an anime girl on the internet. Well, isn't that kind of inappropriate? It's funny because my model sometimes gets flack, which is hilarious because my 20s have a more revealing model than me. And I've been told that my model's indecent, that I show too much cleavage. And so it's a lot of just people are like, well, you shouldn't play horror games because horror games don't honor God. Or you shouldn't play Tears of the Kingdoms because it's demonic. You shouldn't play Breath of the Wild because there's, demons in it. Speaking of Ganon.
Well, I'm just gonna pause there for a minute. You shouldn't read the Bible then, because there's demons in it.
Yeah, it's scandalous. I'm showing my shoulders. I have been called a flirt by some old dear friends because most of my streaming friends are guys, and I stream more with men because of the games that I play. More guys play the games that I play. I love my female friends. They're great. But part of that scheduling conflict too, right?
Right.
Because they stream earlier than me. Well, because of my work schedule.
I'm just wondering here on some level, because I do know at times individuals who have a really hard time reading social cues. And some of them are pretty nerdy people that can't read. I'm not picking on them in any way. But if you're just being friendly as a female, they can't read that. They don't have enough exposure to it. So if you're being friendly, you're being flirty, could be a really easy thing to read wrong.
Yeah, which I hadn't even thought about, in all honesty, until a couple days ago. Because that happened about a year ago, where someone accused me of being a flirt with all the guys that I hang out with, and I'm just like, what? Streaming for 5 years and no one's called me a flirt before. What are you talking about? And so I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know what to do with that right now. So Jesus help me. And so it's one of those things where I'm just especially having liked horror and kind of shifted away, but also playing a lot of romance visual novels, because they're not sexually explicit, but there can be sexual undertones.
Right.
And some people are like, that's bad. I'm like, not all sex is bad. I tried to stay away from games that are like super sexually explicit, but I'm like, okay, if my Otome games are bad, so is Baldur's Gate. Like,
Well, Baldur's Gate, which I do play, and
I play Baldur's Gate 3 too, but I have like the safer work settings on.
yeah, I put those settings on as well. But I would say I played Baldur's Gate 1 and Baldur's Gate 2, and actually, like Baldur's Gate 1 didn't have the capacity to have any of the sexually explicit showings of anything. But you had the built-in back then of having romance helps you with other people. So, I hate to say it in some way, but of course I played every single thing to lead everybody on, and you would just not have that person in the party over here who's upset at this person.
It's like The Sims.
Right, so you just can't flirt with two people at the party at the same time. So you just put them in and out, and you flirt with everybody because they all like you better. And it's a game strategy. But
yeah,
I don't need the explicit exposure of people. And then there's also, I want to say, boy, Baldur's Gate 3 came out, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? I'm trying to remember.
Like almost 3 years ago. I think it's 3 years old this year.
Yeah, that sounds right. I started playing it online and streaming it. And it's like, you know what? Nobody came to watch me.
It's funny because everyone comes to watch my sister and I because we haven't played. We don't usually play games like that, so people are super interested in our reactions.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they're hilarious. I'm just like, what's happening here? Why? But so it's interesting, and so like all of that plays into me like not always knowing how to act, like and not knowing how to respond to people. So there's like different people who have seen different sides of me, but like there's a lot of things I just don't share because like I've been called weird or too much or that's inappropriate, and I'm just like I don't want to offend anybody, but like also like anything can be offensive. So I tiptoe around a lot because I don't always know how to act or what to say or what to do, and it makes it challenging in the streaming space, especially when I want to share or say things, and I'm just like, is that appropriate? Is that inappropriate? Because like I grew up in a very secular household. I wasn't saved until I was a teenager, and so like I can have a crude sense of humor. And so there's a lot of things I try to filter out on the internet and just with people in general, because I'm just like, I've been so rejected by people in the church because they're like, that's not very Christ-like. Well, I think we're all being sanctified, my friends. So we're all the work in progress.
Yeah. Well, and
it's hard.
And on some level, there is, we can go to the Pharisees on that, but there's a whole level of people want to sin manage other people. And if I can sin manage you, then I somehow must feel better about my own sins. Or if I can sin manage you, that means I'm good at identifying sin, so I don't have to worry about what I'm actually doing. I'm getting other people to change. And I don't know. But on some level, I think we've done a poor job of a lot of things. One of those is the whole purity culture thing that the church has endured.
As a female who struggled with pornography, I at one point in my walk when I was like 18 or 19, I confessed to my female pastor and her husband, and rather than helping, I was more condemned, and like I was called impure, that I wasn't clean. Was I like, X, Y, or Z? Like my purity was called into question. So rather than continue going to church, I went more into pornography because I'm just like, if this is how people in the church are going to treat me, Jesus, like, how do I respond to this? Like, at least here I can like, find a semblance of what at the time I thought was freedom, love, and acceptance, which wasn't the case at all.
Right.
Because like it like turned off all feelings. Like I didn't have to feel when I was in that addiction. And so when I tried to get help in the church as a young like a young adult female like woman, the church didn't know how to handle it.
That is an interesting thing about that, is that on some level the church hasn't faced it entirely.
Yeah.
There are, and there continuously are scandals that come out about pastors and or elders, deacons with issues with that not not unrelated, but we just had an elementary school teacher near me who was found with child pornography. So the whole pornography thing is not going to go away. And the rise of it has
it's gone up.
It's gone up, and it's also crossed over to it doesn't matter your gender anymore. It used to.
No, it doesn't.
It used to be
40 to 80% of women are addicted, and 90% of men. It's more like 60 between 60 and 80% of women nowadays are addicted, and it doesn't look the same for women and men. Like
no.
If people know it looks completely different. Yeah. Which is part of the reason I don't think the church was prepared for that, because it isn't the same kind for both genders. Like it's completely different. Generally speaking,
I think there's also a problem if we talk about it, that will make it more prevalent. And it's not that way. And also often the church has had a posture of to address things, people will not admit them because what has happened to you is exactly why people don't admit it. So instead of getting help for the problems that they have, they keep it to themselves. They put on the persona of I am perfect on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Even though you might be drinking and partying on Friday night and Saturday night until you wake up with a hangover and go to church or whatever your vice is.
Yeah. I was addicted to pornography while being an intern youth pastor.
Yeah. And
I learned later. I'm pretty sure my church knew about it. I can't confirm it, but I have suspicions that they knew. And they still let me. And I'm just like, it is, in my opinion, far too easy to go to like seminary or Bible school and get a pass to pastor without making sure like you don't have like a lust addiction or an alcohol addiction. Or I'm like, guys, like what you do will trickle down to your flock. Like you can only hide it for so long. Everything comes to light, like, and that's going to have catastrophic effects on your body and like the church body. And I'm just like, rather than continuing, I stopped going to Bible school. I actually stopped going to church for a while. And my heart posture was like, and I went so far, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for people. I stopped praying for forgiveness because I kept committing the sin. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to abuse your grace.
Yeah.
I'm like, show me why I'm stuck here so I can really repent. And that prayer didn't come until years later, where like I kind of still dabbled in it, so I wasn't completely free, but I wasn't like addicted. Although I'd argue I was still in the addiction. But like that prayer was answered years later of like why I struggled for so long. But like I'm just like, I couldn't in good conscience, knowing that I felt like I was abusing grace in my spirit, continue to pray for forgiveness when I was like knowing I was just gonna go and do it the next day.
Right. That's a really interesting thought there of, do you pray and ask for forgiveness even if you feel sorry for it, if you know your weakness, that you will struggle the next day and probably fall again? And I don't know the answer is the same for everybody, but I love how you process through that for yourself. Not that you weren't engaging God, but that you were not going to say, like, I just want to get I prayed for it, I'm forgiven, and I'm going to do it again tomorrow with intent that I know I'm going to. So I just want the absolution, so to speak, using not picking on anyone who believes that, but just like, I want absolved of it now, I'll go do it again tomorrow, which kind of reminds me of the phrase, which I, by the way, do like. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. I'm misapplying that a little bit in this circumstance, but the fact that we all struggle, I think, well, I experience this, and I think we do as streamers sometimes too, but not the same way, because there are not as many Christians who are in streaming. But I got lots of flack at times for being transparent as a pastor and talking about struggles that I was struggling with. And then we go, you can't talk about struggles. You're supposed to be the one who has everything together. And I'm like, if you wait for me to get it all together, I will never be a pastor.
Yeah.
Like you're like, maybe on my deathbed, I could finally give my first sermon because I have no possibility of screwing up anymore. So, plus Peter screwed up all the way along. If we were waiting for Peter to get it right, which Peter, by the way, my favorite person in all of Scripture, because usually as a kid, Peter, like before I knew all the stories, Peter would say the thing that my brain said you should say, and then Peter would be wrong about it, and I'd go, but I still would have said what Peter said. That's
Oh my gosh.
that's
It was
exactly how I thought.
It was so funny growing up because, like, my grandparents were. I'm not saying all Catholics aren't saved, so I'm prefacing that because about what I'm about to say. My grandparents were saved out of Catholicism into like the Pentecostal like church. They did not find Jesus in Catholicism. They found rituals, rules, and things that did not feel loving. And so when my grandma at 30 found a spirit believing church and she got what she felt like was really saved and had an encounter with the Lord, um it was interesting growing up because they believed my mom wasn't a believer, so I lived in like dual worlds.
Oh
And so
yeah.
it's using for my brain because I'm just like, okay, God says not to divorce. God says that this is how the family's supposed to be. My dad left me. All these men my mom have around suck. My grandparents are kind of saved but kind of confused. They clearly love the Lord. And it was hard. And so when I was 15, I had like this huge fight with my mom's husband at the time. I went into my bedroom, but I distinctly remember this. There was a crack on my wall and the light was shining perfectly on it. And I looked up at it and I was crying. I'm like, okay, Jesus, like if you are who you say you are, prove it. And I, I called my grandma because I'm like, if like in my teenage brain at that point, I was like, if I'm going to have him prove who he is, I need to go to where he is, and that's a church building because that's
Oh,
my
okay.
realm of expertise. Like my knowledge
Right.
at the time was like that's where his people meet. His people meet at church. So I called my grandma. I'm like, hey, can I start going to church with you on Wednesdays to figure out who this Jesus man is? And she's like, I would love that.
I was just to interrupt you for I was waiting for something to happen to the crack when you say I saw this crack on the wall, and I'm waiting for Jesus to do something, you know. No, I need to go to church. That's
shining on the crack because
Yeah.
we're all broken,
right.
and the Lord's a light, and so that's like. I would have been cool if he healed the crack in the wall, but he didn't.
I was waiting for something like all of a sudden there was light shining through the crack, or I didn't know what it was going to be.
Epic.
Yeah, I because I've heard those stories, and they don't happen for everybody.
Oh,
But I love whatever God does in your life because that's what God needs to do for you, and what He does in my life is what I need, and they're not going to be the same.
He's personal.
Yes,
and that's something that I had to learn, that like every walk is different. So like we have empathy and sympathy, but like neither one are completely perfect at all times because you will never completely understand what someone else went through. Because you are not that person. And so like I can empathize to a certain extent, or I can sympathize to a certain extent, but I will never completely understand, especially if I've never gone through something like that.
right.
Like
Well,
then I want to sit with you, but
right. Well, even given the same circumstance that you're experiencing, you don't experience it the same way as someone else. So
yeah, Corky and I are good examples of that.
Well, I was just going to say my stepdad, when he passed away, which was right before COVID and a week before Christmas, I don't experience it the same way that my mom does, who lost her spouse. I don't experience it the same way my younger brother does, who took his last name. I don't experience it the same way.
Wow.
I also can't experience it the same way any of my siblings did, because I was the arrogant little guy that when we first met him and he took us out to eat, I ordered the most expensive thing on the menu to see what he would do about it.
Oh, wow.
And instead of ordering off of the kids' menu, I ordered the most expensive thing, and he goes, "That's what you want? Great." And I was waiting. I was waiting for a fight over this, and I didn't know what to do with his extending grace and mercy to me. So that was really interesting. Supersonic redeeming some spot of tea here for me. So usually on my channel, I will have spot of tea, and I am drinking blueberry Merlot right now. So a blueberry.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It's
I'm just drinking water.
It's just drinking water.
I had milk before stream, but I try to drink water on stream. I'm generally too lazy to make tea before streaming.
Oh, well, I drink a liter and a half in the morning, and then this is the second pot of the day, so this is another liter and a half of tea.
It keeps you hydrated.
Oh, I've always been hydrated, and then I had a coffee in the middle of the afternoon today, so I'm pretty hydrated.
I wish I could say that my stepdads and my dads have had great experiences in my life, but they haven't, and the reality of that has made it hard for me to connect with God as the father.
Yeah.
But I pray to him as Abba now, so I've made progress.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I can say, not to get off on the sidetrack there, but I do think it's relevant. The models we have in our life are relevant to us.
Yeah.
I have done so much more reflecting on the value of my stepdad, and the man I am is because of him, and I never saw it until the end. Like, I did not know the model that he put in front of me that I watched, and the things that he taught me, and the quietness of who he was, which was contrary to every model that I had prior to him. So I didn't know what to do with that model, even as an adult. I didn't know what to do with it. Now that he's gone, it's like this value for me that like he was Jesus right there, and I didn't see him. Come on.
Can I ask how old you were when you met your stepdad?
12 years old.
Okay.
13, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. So I'm like, I told this to his face somewhere along there. I don't know if it was the first meeting or not. You're not my dad, and you'll never replace him. So I was an angry young man, and he took every blow I gave him, and he never retaliated.
Whoa.
Which to me is the image of the father in the story that Jesus tells, which I hate calling it prodigal. It is the man with two sons. That is what Jesus says. It's the man with two sons. And he took all of the shame I would dish him, and he acted just like the father in that, and that's what I try to be.
Whoa.
Sunshine, he may have served as a deacon at one point. It's a good question. I don't think I ever asked him that question, but I know he did serve at his church before he was divorced, and then he never served again after that for his, I think, his own convictions and whatnot. And by the way, Sunshine, it's good to see you, friend. I haven't seen you for a while. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, it's really hard. But next bits, if you ever want to talk, my DMs are open.
Well, I feel really good about where that relationship is now.
Yeah.
I just wish at some point I'd have realized it sooner.
Yeah.
I actually moved to the house where I live 9 years ago because when my youngest was graduating from high school, he had been diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. And I said, God, if you open a door that I can move back and be by him, I would love to, because I don't want to go 5 years and he doesn't know who I am, because I only see him for Christmas and maybe in the summer for, a day or two, twice a year. And it happened. And now I've lived here longer than I ever have. And the other funny part of it is he lived 45 minutes away from where I live when I moved here. And a month later, he moved to the retirement home, which is 5 hours away from me.
Still closer.
Oh, well, that move would have made it even more likely that I would not have seen him but once a year. So the fact that he was 5 hours away instead of 7 to 8 hours actually meant I saw him every other month for the last 3 years of his life.
Whoa, how sweet.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I treasured every moment of that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how good it was. I was just treasuring it in the moment, and I've been doing a lot of reflecting on it afterwards, so it's been great.
Yeah. My grandma, who was like a mom to me, passed away, I think in 2021. I think, if I remember correctly. And all of her kids had like some sort of like vision or like saw something when she had passed away, and Corky and I had like dreams, and my grandma and I had these really lovely God conversations. She really instilled a love in me for the word and asking questions and like going before the Lord and like sitting at his feet and like just talking to him. And so like in this dream, like basically literally like the day or so before she like her body died, we were sitting downstairs in her actual house where we all still lived when she was alive, and I still live there, not now, but at the time I did. And we were having this really amazing conversation about life and God. And I got up and I looked back at her, and she always had this look on her face when, like, she knew things would be tough, but she knew they would be okay. And in that moment, like, I knew, I'm like, she's going home. Like, I'm gonna wake up and she's going home. But I'm like, how sovereign is the Lord that I got to say goodbye in such a unique way
yes.
that only He could give me. And because my whole life was spent with her.
Yeah, I totally know that piece that you're talking about. I got that with him. He was at my house for Thanksgiving, and he said goodbye and gave me a hug, and it felt like this is the last time I'm going to see him.
Yeah.
And we had that like silent moment together. I was convinced he was telling me that. I was convinced that he knew I knew that, but I didn't share it with my kids because I was afraid to be wrong about it. And I also felt like this was just for me. And then he got sick a week after getting where my brother and sister lived and seeing every other grandkid that he had and being able to see them. He then went into the hospital, and he passed away a week later before anybody else could get there. So he went and he did all of his goodbyes between Thanksgiving and 2 weeks later, and he was gone.
Yeah. I think people know sometimes, especially as believers, like I feel like there's a grace there that the Lord gives us.
Oh, yeah. I think
it makes the pain less. Like it doesn't make sense. Like to my because my mom found out a year later that I had this dream because I didn't share it with her. Quirky and I had shared like instantly because we both had dreams and like we talk a lot because we're twins. But like a year or so later, my mom found out and she's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I'm like, "I didn't want you to feel like I was trying to take something away from you in your grief." Where you feel less than because of how you like experienced her goodbye, because we all experienced it differently.
Well, and I wasn't bringing that up to try to say, oh, that everybody should have that, but it's
no.
It's recognize if you get a chance to do that, what a blessing that is to be able to have that happen.
Yeah.
Why does it say that the title still says that's not what it says on my screen? So
try refreshing.
Yeah, try refreshing, Supersonic. Maybe it was stuck in the cache.
That's happened to me a couple times.
I hope that's not what it is. I'll go change it later if it is. So.
Shows now.
Okay. We were talking about, we got a little bit on the side there of, people attacking you and treating you differently. Have there been other obstacles that you have faced as being a streamer, being intentionally Christian, whether you're a Christian streamer or a streamer who is Christian? What have been some other things that you have faced either in life or in streaming?
In life, I would just say like a lot of people don't get it. My family's just criticized me. Thankfully now they've come around because they see what I'm trying to do. But that took 5 years. They're like, you're wasting your time. Like, it's no good. Go get a real job. Go do something more meaningful with your time. Like, work at a soup kitchen or something. Streaming wise, I think it can be pretty isolating when even if you're a streamer who is Christian, and trying to be more intentional about how you speak. Because like when I started streaming, I was not intentional. Like I swore way more. I'm still trying to overcome swearing, but I swear less now than I did. And so it's like I don't want to appear the way the world does. Like I don't want to like be overly complaining or like overly emotional. Not that like emotions are bad or talking about struggles is bad, but I think there's a difference between like this sucks all the time and like I'm having a hard time. Like how am I like saying things, right?
There is definitely a difference between a person that is complaining about life circumstance and a person that is sharing the struggles that they're going through.
Yeah. And so sometimes it can be misunderstood of like, oh, well, some people have thought I'm trying to be holier than art thou. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to be intentional.
If you were doing that, why not put a halo, up there?
Right? Which is hilarious because my mom always thought I was like a holy roller as a teenager who was learning about Jesus. And I'm like, oh boy. So I haven't like I think I've been fortunate in this streaming space to not get too much pushback outside of the horror stuff. Because that's like a big concern for like different Christian groups. And I even try to be intentional. Like I don't play Phasmophobia, I don't watch Stranger Things, and that's for like personal conviction because my family dealt with the occult. So like my grandma had a Ouija board, her ex fiance who passed away like did seances and stuff. And it like goes back like even further than that for my family. So like I try to be intentional about like not doing things with like, you know, like that stuff. But like zombie games, I'm like, oh, swag. But there's also games like that I've played like Fran Bow that have like portals and stuff. And I'll talk about like how that relates to like the spiritual realm and like what that means and what that looks like, because I am under the belief that humans are not as creative as we like to think that we are, because there's nothing new under the sun. So you're getting your ideas from somewhere, whether you read them, whether the Lord told you, or whether the enemy told you. And that's gotten me in some hot waters. Some people think I'm crazy, and that's okay.
Well, Fedorable Will and I were talking about that in a little bit different way, and I was trying to talk about the fact and some of the like the things that people think are new in the church shouldn't use and do, which within tech. I'm like, this is just a new iteration of something that we've already done. So. Yeah. So the Paul writing letters to people was using the tech of the day, using the Roman roads, using a person who was a scribe to pen that, sending a courier, a messenger that he knew, to read it to the audience. That was all his way of being able to do what you and I are doing right now and engaging one another when we can't be physically present with one another. And so we were talking like this is just a new iteration. We've had others. We went from there to doing pen pals, to doing we could talk on the phone, to doing now we can do video, to like we just keep iterating the same thing over and over again in new ways. And to say in some way like what the podcast really is trying to claim, redeeming the space and resetting the like for most things. There are people who will say that they are unredeemable and they can't be used for God. But most of us don't remember the things that used to be called that. So the organ was called that because the organ started in the bar hall. So the organ can't be used by God. The piano can't be used by God because it started in the bar hall. But we'll remember that the guitar can't be used by God because it started in the bar hall. It's always been the same argument. We don't have any new arguments. The world keeps creating new ways to do things, and we need to keep doing ways of redeeming those for God. That would be my argument.
Yeah, you jogged memory. There was once a pastor that I was listening to that says, rather than trying to like keep Christians off the internet, why don't we try to figure out how to use the internet to glorify God?
Yep.
Because we're missing so much when we try to stay away from things that so many people are on, and you're not reaching people the same way, because it's not pen pals, it's not just chat rooms anymore. It's live streaming and YouTube and TikTok and Insta reels, and by trying to stay away from that, you're missing a whole audience and a whole generation.
And there may be people that yes, they need to for themselves stay off of TikTok or stay off of Reels. But to say that no Christian should be is to abdicate the authority and the rule and reign of Christ to Satan. And I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to abdicate and say, Satan, you get to have TikTok. No Christians can be on there. Satan, you get to have Twitch. No Christians could be on there. I'm sorry. I don't want to give him any ground because I don't think he has rule and reign that's worth anything.
Amen. And I think that's one of the things that like is important, right? Is like the Lord told us to steward the earth, and we all might be broken and we live in a fallen world, but we're redeemed through the blood of Christ.
Yes.
And he told us to go out. And that looks different in this generation. It's not just going out and preaching on the street corner or, you know, going into different places. It's part of it is on the internet now. And like we need people here too. And I'm so like, because I've talked about my pornography addiction on my channel. Like I've talked about how I'm not perfect. I'm like, I don't want people to think Christians are like these holy out beings who don't have life struggles, who aren't like going through things, because the reality of it is we're all going through something.
Yes.
It just might not look the same. And it's okay to like be like, yeah, I'm having a really hard time, could you like pray for me? Like, I've had people in my community who are like, hey, I'm trans, I'm with my girlfriend, we're moving in together, but like we're having a hard time, could you pray for us? And I'm like, absolutely.
Yep.
Like, please, like, share more of your hardship with me, let me fight this fight with you. And that was one thing that I went through with some people once, where they didn't understand how I could be so involved in the LGBT community. Not that I was involved, but I had so many friends in that community, and I've since kind of lost them because of other people in my life constantly judging me for being friends with them and ridiculing me and being like, you can't be friends with them. Like, that's like, you know, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here now and I'm just like, man, I miss those friendships. I miss being able to be a bit of a light in their life. And they would ask me Bible questions and talk to me about God. Even if they didn't believe, they knew I was a safe space to like ask those questions without judgment. And now I don't have that, because people in the like, I tend to overcorrect when people judge me rather than sticking to what the Lord's called me to do, because I'm so worried about the opinion of man. That's one of my weaknesses. And that's part of the reason I struggle on Twitch, because I'm so worried about what people will think of me. And I can admit that. And it's not easy to admit. Be like, yeah, I'm that's my fear.
Yeah. And you're not alone in that, but I just like, I'm thinking of myself, and like I've been that stubborn, obstinate, out of the box person that never wanted to fit in with the crowd. I mean, I've been wearing a flat cap since 7th grade. Nobody in 7th grade was going, oh my goodness, you know what's super cool is those flat caps. Oh man, I want to be in the in crowd. No, we were wearing Guess jeans, and that's what we were doing. And I'm like, I want to stand out. I don't want to be like anybody else. So I've like, I won't go into it. I was just trying to think of how I used to phrase it, but essentially I would try to sometimes intentionally offend people just so that I could see, are you actually going to care about me, or are you just looking for a way to judge me? If you're just going to judge me, I got no time for you. So I would intentionally be very crass and rude towards friends' parents so that I could size them up and figure out where they were going to place me, so I didn't have to waste any time with them, which to me is like, wow, I see lots of people do the same thing in Twitch space. And it's like, yeah, I know where you're coming from. You come into my stream and you see I've got pastor in my name and you want to size me up. Feel free to do that. You get to do that because I did that to other people. Next step is, oh man, you know what's super cool? Those flat caps. Yeah.
My coworker came to work wearing a flat cap yesterday and today, and I thought of you. Like, oh, flat cap.
Yeah, no one thought fedoras were cool when you wore them every day in high school. Yes. Yeah, I started in middle school, so I've been doing it longer, Fedorable Will. Just saying. Because
you made it cool first.
Well, I'll tell you what, it has been super fun in the internet age because I can get them. Like, oh my goodness, I had to get my first one at a secondhand store because there were no stores that sold them.
Mm-hmm. There are still some specialty hat stores. I don't remember where I lived, but like there was one place that I went that like it was a mall, and this mall had a hat store where the hats were handmade. And I'm like, bro, this is a lost art. I wish I would have remembered where it was, because like they had some really cool hats.
Now, let's not go down that trail. I will just talk about hats for a half an hour. Easy. I could go down that trail for a long time, but
another time.
I will eventually need to start another podcast that will just talk about hats, or I'm going to start my own hat line. It's going to be one of those two. I don't know which one.
Why not do both? You can talk about hats and advertise your own hat line.
There we go.
It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, to stay on hats for just one more thing. So right after I got started as a streamer, there were a lot of people that were talking about trying to get sponsorships. So I wrote an email to the company where a third of my hats came from. And I told them, hey, I'm a streamer. I wear a hat. I'd advertise your stuff. Would you like? They probably had no idea what Twitch was or anything. And like, what's this weird thing? I'm like, you just send me a hat. I'll give it away on stream and all of this. They never responded.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. They also sell all kinds of hats, not just FlatCap. So it would have been fun. It would have been fun. I'll give a hat away every month. I thought would be cool.
That would have been cool. Hey, who knows? Maybe one day they'll see the email and respond.
Yeah, maybe the email was caught in limbo and it'll be delivered now when it actually would be.
Redeem of the hats.
Yes. Yeah, redeem of the hats. Okay, let's jump off of that topic or I'll keep going. So we've talked about some of the struggles and we talked about like just because you're a Christian doesn't mean the struggles aren't there. But one of the things that we've talked about too is how we can have a perspective in those to be able to see good in the midst of struggles and sorrow. But what have been some like just straight up moments of blessing that you've experienced as being a Twitch streamer in your community or for you yourself?
Oh my gosh, honestly, like when I started out Twitch streaming, it was such a blessing. Like, so like most people, it can take years to get affiliate. Now it's a little bit easier because of the different guidelines. But when I got into streaming years ago, like I knew people who had been streaming for like 3-4 years who still hadn't hit affiliate. I got affiliate in 6 months, which was such a blessing because at that time, like I wasn't very big. However, like the Lord really used my community to bless me. So I always had just enough to pay my bills. Cause like I wasn't working at the time because of COVID. Right. And so like I had like drained through my savings account, paying bills, keeping up on stuff. And so I was like, Jesus, I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to have money to like, go out with my family, to like pay like the bills I need to pay. Like, I don't have like anything else I can do besides this right now. And every month, like clockwork, I always had just enough. And like, there'd be months where I would have just enough to even like go out with my family for dinner. And it was such a blessing. And then like, just to support, like I think one of the best things that happened as a streamer, when I lived with the rooms that I moved at, I found Reach. Like Reach, connecting with so many people who love the Lord in this space has been so healing for me. And like because I got to meet you and had lovely conversations and some like Fedorable Will and so many other amazing people at ReachConf that I'm just like, this space is full of people who love Jesus, and I wouldn't have met them had I not gotten my PC 6 years ago and started streaming. And then just this consistency of my community. Hey, we're getting a raid.
We're getting a raid. Hang on. Wait, let me see. Did I don't think I've got that yet. I need to do that because we've had 1 or 2 raids on here. I need to create a raid clip. But let me welcome everybody coming in with the raid. We've got I'm watching you people, raid and stuff. We have hugs. Yes, we do. And then there's a bunch of emojis. We have cookies. We do. And I have cookies on my other channel because of I'm watching you people. And I have pizza. And I have fruit. And I have ice cream. And now I have tacos. So we got all kinds of things. And Sky Dragon Fang, welcome in. Glad to have you here.
Is that a Deadpool emote?
Yes, it looks like it's a Deadpool. Let's go.
Cute. Dragon Fang just followed.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Sky Dragon Fang. Yes, Supersonic S and fish and hats. Well, we don't pass out fish on my channel. I was talking about the things that we can pass to one another as you come in with the commands. So we got 15 people coming in. What a blessing.
Let's go. Hi.
You know what? I don't know if I have active mods here right now. I can never remember who's active in this channel and who's not. So let me give a shout out there for I'm watching you people. I'm a very slow mod, a slow typer, and a dyslexic typer. By that, I mean my fingers type in the wrong order, so it sometimes... Yes. Oh, yes, and I have a T command as well, supersonic, exactly. So welcome in, everybody. Those that do not know, I am FlatCap Dapper Pastor. This is Control-Alt-Redeem, and I invite friends on here to talk about what they are doing as a Twitch streamer, intentionally being Christian and being light in the space of Twitch so that we can help make it a less toxic place. And KattieBugg, if you'd like to introduce yourself, because not everybody's going to know you.
Hi, I'm KattieBugg. I love Jesus and 2D men. So if you like anime and gacha and JRPGs, I'm your girl.
There you go. I don't think I Maybe I've heard that before, but I was taking a sip when I love 2D men.
Yeah. No. So I was gonna. So that's actually my catchphrase.
Okay.
I love Jesus and 2D men because I have like a tier list of like 100 plus husbandos from back from when I'm 14 to current, and I was gonna try to change it, and then I started going into people's chats who like had those like exclamation point like shout outs that like give a little snippet.
Yep.
And no matter how often I changed what I said, it always like KattieBugg loves Jesus and 2D men, and I'm like, well, I'm stuck with it now. The AI knows it's never going away. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well embrace it. It's okay.
There you go. There you go. Well, on one level, let me throw this at you, because I love reframing things. That's the way my brain works. So
no, I love that.
Both Peter and Paul are 2D men because you only get to read them in the Bible. You don't actually get to see them. So both Peter and Paul and every one of your favorite biblical characters,
I love that.
outside of Jesus and the Holy Spirit, are all two-dimensional men. So there we go.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, though, I'm stealing that now.
Hey, I throw stuff out there. I'm a very creative person. If you know StrengthsFinder, my number one StrengthsFinder is ideation. My brain does not stop thinking, creating, and doing those things. Yes, it's just a reiteration of somebody else's creation, but it's still probably something you haven't quite heard worded that way before. So
yeah, no, I love that. Although granted, I will say like that has been a struggle a couple times, that my saying is I love Jesus and 2D man, because everyone's like, Jesus is a 2D man. And now, funnily enough, he's actually in an anime. I don't love the anime that he's in, but I can be like, yeah, there's an anime version of Jesus too. So, nee boo boo.
Well, there's also AI Jesus, if you haven't seen that.
I have not.
Yeah. There's a Twitch channel that was AI Jesus. I want to say about 18 months ago is when I saw it.
Wow.
And I actually found... I want to say it's Stream Elements has where you can get an AI for your channel, and one of the choices is Jesus, that you can have AI Jesus on your channel. So, yeah, you're typing this all in. You got to go check it out and find out.
No, I was actually responding to chat.
Oh, okay.
I have mixed feelings about like AI and gospel and AI and Jesus. Because I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, I think it depends, just like everything else, and we were talking earlier about who's creating it, why they're creating it, and how you're using it. So I think AI, and it already is. Actually, I don't remember who. I think I was having this conversation. It might have been Fedorable Will at Reach Conference. It was around the fact that AI is only fed information from it. There is so much, like if you just go read all the books that are out there and the number of books that are written about things, there are more books written about the Bible than any other topic and any other subject. So as AI begins to take in every single commentary that's written and every single thing that's produced by Christians, it is not going to be able to help itself, but to evolve to being more Christ-like in its thinking and in its knowledge, because there's so much of it.
Oh, that's true. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Right. I've had that conversation and heard that somewhere else. I've had that a couple of times. But I do have a friend who, shoot, I got the app on my phone. Let me make sure I've got Venture AI. And it's not fully out there for public access. I'm a beta tester in it. But it is an AI discipleship coach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you can go watch on my channel. I've got a VOD or two that I've done on it. You have daily check-ins. You can have a daily verse that you can do. You can ask it Bible questions. I've tested it out on my stream multiple times, asking it some really bizarre questions about the Bible, that it's done a fantastic job being able to render that and then come back with a discussion around it and then hypothesize.
Oh, that's so cool, actually.
Yeah, it's been really good.
I'm gonna have to try that out on my stream one day.
Yeah. If you don't have the link for it, anybody that wants it, DM me directly. I've got codes. I'm not publishing them. You'll have to DM me if
I'll
you're
DM you
if you're
stream.
interested. Fedorable Will. My brain wants to experiment with that and see how it would respond to. What are your thoughts on Calvinist view to predestination? You certainly could ask it that. I've not thought to ask that, but I also, while I may or may not fall into one camp of theology. I don't have any issue with people who come down on another side. I think on some level, our brains cannot fathom the unfathomable. And by that, I mean, how can I, a mortal, comprehend God immortal? How can I, a created thing, comprehend the one that created me? I just don't think I have capacity. So no matter which theology, systematic or otherwise, that you fall into by your heritage or by extrapolation of study, you're taking one viewpoint to look at something that's more than three-dimensional. And I don't and you just are highlighting the things that you are grasping onto most. That's the way I kind of look at it.
Yeah, no, it's funny because, like, on that vein, like, with the rapture and, like, Armageddon and all of that, I simply describe myself as a pre-wrath girly. And whenever I say I'm pre-wrath, everyone puts me in a camp. And I'm like, I don't know what pre-wrath looks like. I just know it's biblical. Yeah. And they're like, well, that's mid-trib. I'm like, well, there's a lot of different things supporting the different camps. Don't put me in a camp. I don't want to be in a camp.
Yeah. Well, I probably have on
all the camps are bad, but
no. And that's where you reside in your thinking. I probably have back here a book, 5 views on the book of Revelation. 5 views. These aren't pagan views. These are Christian views on it. If we have 5 views currently that we're using, and if you look at historical views that we have been able to have, the rapture view is less than 200 years old. So historically, the church has not held to that view at all. So if it came along in the last 200 years, does it matter if it's right? If the first 1,800 years, nobody had that view? I don't know. But the bigger thing I would say, and usually how I answer the question is, nobody got it right when Jesus came the first time.
Right.
My expectation of how many are going to get it right when his second coming happens is exactly the same number, 0.
Yeah, I like how you said that in your stream today, actually, because I lurk a lot in your streams because I will watch while I'm at work. And I'm just like, how true is that, though? Like, so many people missed it because they thought it would be one way, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, like, so too will that happen again? Because I feel like we as humans, we like to put God in a box. Like, I do it too, right? To try to comprehend. And it's like you said, like, he's outside of that. It's like, I have like bubble theory, like God's outside of time. My life is made up of bubbles. God knows what bubble I'm going to pick. I don't know what bubble I'm going to pick until I pick it.
What do we have here? Oh, yeah. Sorry, auto mod there. Yeah, that's not a big deal.
So to answer your question, Supersonic, pre-wrath, I mean that it doesn't make sense to me that Christians would face the wrath of God. We will face judgment, but it doesn't make sense to me that people who believe in him would face his wrath, like his outpouring of judgment, in the same way that a non-believer would, like the separation of sheep and goats. So my thought is, like, our judgment isn't as like the same. Like, it's so like pre-wrath, I mean like like harsh, like pouring out his anger on the world. Because God is a just God, and I think that's something that we don't talk about a lot, is that God is a just God and vengeance is his to give, right? And that he is a judge, and that one day we will all be judged, and our works will be tested.
Yeah, well, and another thing that I don't know if I've ever worded it this way until I just went through Genesis earlier this year, which, you know, I've read through the Bible multiple times on my stream, but, you know, we're doing it again this year, and I'm trying to record all of those and post them. But because I was exposed to a bunch of people that recently were doing videos about how angry God is in the Old Testament and all of this stuff, and I had a few comments in my videos around that already, but I'm like, the very first thing that God does when the first person does the wrong thing is he does not kill them. He shows them mercy. Yeah. He shows them mercy. So God said, you will die, and then he showed mercy instead. And then Cain kills Abel, and he does not exact punishment of killing him. He instead shows mercy. And then when you get to Exodus 6, and there's different ways of reading this, so historically, a lot of Bibles said, and the lifetime of man shall be 120 years, but it doesn't have to be rendered that way. It can be rendered in this will not last, but more than 120 years. So it's a coming judgment will be in 120 years. So God is saying that he is tired of the violence, but he's saying, I'm waiting 120 years, and then I'm going to judge it. And then you also...
And that was mercy.
Yeah, that was mercy. And
I like how the Bible Project talks about it.
Yeah.
I love the Bible Project.
So we often hold one viewpoint because it's what we've heard, and we don't know how to question what we've been taught sometimes. We just accept what's been given to us until somebody questions it and ask, well, why do we do it that way? Or why is that true? And sometimes we just can't fully get to the answer because we get stuck in a rut of our thinking and our vision to be able to see that's the only thing that's there.
Yeah. I guess my view is like, because I haven't formulated it completely because I haven't done a deep dive onto pre-wrath, but I don't necessarily know if I believe in the rapture the same way others do. And I want to dig more into like what used to be pre-rapture thinking. But I want to say this, one of my like, I think I mentioned this, FlatCap. Well, one of my favorite books of the Bible is Leviticus, because you see both.
Oh yes, we talked about this.
You see both the judgment and the love of God. I'm like that the Leviticus is a love letter of reconciliation of how we can have communion with God in our failures, and how he wanted us to have communion with him, and how he made a way for that pre-Jesus.
Yes.
And so like I fell in love with the Lord of the universe through Leviticus, through a women's Bible study that I went to at like 21. Like, I mean, I was already in love with him prior to that, but like there was like a deeper richness to how much I loved him. And I'm just like, man, Leviticus isn't just a book of laws, it's a love letter.
Well, yeah, and we talked about this at Reach Conference. I mean, I said it from stage. Leviticus is one of my top 5 books in the Bible. You want to talk about it, ask me about it. I'm not going to tell you up here. I had several people take me up on that. But the thing that we miss in so much of Leviticus, because like we don't practice it, it was the instructions for the priest on how to live as an example for the people. And part of what they do in all of the sacrifices, which we just get the idea that blood sacrifice is the only sacrifice. It is a very small portion of the sacrifices. There are bread offerings, there are grain offerings, there are olive oil offerings, there are wine offerings, there is fat offering, there's wave offerings, which is my personal favorite, because I want to wave this in front of you and show off what I'm bringing you. Like, is this not what a little kid does? Mommy, daddy, look what I have. Look what I have. I want to show you what I have. Like, we're bringing to our Father a wave offering, showing off what we're bringing to. I love that. And then we don't realize, because this is not our experience, we don't get to participate very often when we bring our offering in a common church. Like, I bring my cash, I put it in the offering plate, or I swipe my card now, or I do it digitally. There's no participation in it. When they were bringing these offerings, much of the time, there was eating the meal as a part of this. There was a participation.
Not Moses, Noah, my bad.
With what was happening in that moment. So, yeah, we got to commune with God when we brought our offerings. We got to participate with the community when we did that. We got to participate with our family, the priest. You would have your local Levi from your town that would come with you, that you would give, and he got to eat from it. I mean, it was all relational in giving.
Yeah.
We don't have relational giving. Card swipe, offering plate. No, they're separate. They wouldn't be in the offering plate. It would just be, well, I guess you could write your number down, but supersonic. But like, all my giving is done online. Like, I don't give anything in person.
I remember when I was a teenager, my grandfather, he's like, how would the church react if a farmer brought in a cow because he didn't have money?
Right.
Because so often, like in today and age, it's like, give money, give money, give money. I really kind of like how my church is like, hey, like if you have like gift cards or like extra like school supplies or like like, because they go out to the homeless ministry in my area, and or they'll like have gift cards to give to families in need so they can go like buy what they need. It's not just monetary gifts. It's like you can give what you have, which I think is beautiful. Granted, we do need monetary gifts today to keep the things running, but like there's so much more. Like, I argued with someone once about how I tithe my time when I didn't have anything else to give. Because I'm like, you can offer your time to the Lord if you have nothing else, because like you are giving of what you have. And that was a whole huge and a half debate. Because we're so, especially in America, we're so used to tithing equal money. But when you see in scripture, it's like the grain, the like different things for the priesthood. And I'm like, it's not just monetary. There is a time and place for monetary, and then there's a time and place for like where they brought stuff to build the temple, and there was too much, and they're like, stop giving.
Oh, that's one of my favorite. Yeah. Which I can't like. That's the one thing I like. I've always wished to see in my lifetime is a time where I say stop giving. Like, or I hear of a church that says stop giving. We've got too much. I've yet to see people respond more than the need, and we usually fall short of the need, it seems, for the most part.
I pray for the day that we have more than, and they're like, stop, we have more than enough. Because how much of a joyous day will that be?
Oh, it had to be glorious. The other thing is the people that were doing all that giving, like, I think they're at Sinai for about 2 months before they get to that point of starting the construction. 6 months before that, they didn't have any of that wealth. Like, that was... I like to phrase it this way. I don't mean to offend anybody, so take it tongue in cheek if you need to. It was all parting gifts from leaving slavery in Egypt. They took all the parting gifts that they got. Like, they didn't know what to do with these. They didn't have them. Like, yeah, they probably kept some of the stuff they really liked and enjoyed that they got from, their master or whoever else, their neighbors. They were supposed to go ask for silver and gold and gems and all of that. They're giving because God's given them abundance. What are they going to do with it in the desert? Like, so they're like, yeah, we're going to build God's tabernacle, I'll give to that. Here, let me give all that I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you do not have wealth to give, what can you give? You give what you have.
Hey, it was like the lady who didn't have much but gave 2 pennies, and the Lord's like, what did he say in that moment? I forget.
Well, she's given more than everyone else because she gave out of her lack and they gave out of their abundance. I'm paraphrasing, but essentially that's...
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's so fascinating at times how we view things, and we want to put our views on other people. Just like we were talking about rapture earlier. I'm fine with people that have that view. I don't have that view, but if you have it, I'm not opposed to you. We can have that view. What I'm more concerned of is, do you love Jesus and do you love your neighbor?
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to spend my time. So,
amen.
We're talking about blessings. Do you have any stories of things that have happened in your stream to bless others that have come into your stream, or they just something that they were able to have an encounter with God as they came and were around you in that space?
I don't know. I'm sure there have been people. I mean, I think one of the blessings that I had to give back was we did a couple charity streams for St. Jude.
Oh, cool.
And my community really showed up to give to that. And that was a blessing because that was on my heart to give back for that. I think about someone, I don't remember their name. They don't come around often much anymore, but she was trans and she's just like, can I still come here even though like you're Christian and I'm this way? I'm like, please. And she showed up for like 2 years and we would just chat. And we wouldn't even necessarily talk God. She would come to some of my God talks, my Bible talks, but we would just chat and hang out. I have a friend who wants to talk religion with me now. Agnostic, I think, is what he currently goes by.
Yep.
And I'm just like, we haven't made it happen yet because he's on night shifts on Monday shifts. But that's been a blessing that I could hopefully one of these days we can make that happen so I can give back in that way. And just have a conversation of like, hey, this is what I believe. This is what you believe. And here's why. And just like kind of like iron out the why behind the what.
Yep.
But yeah, some of the sweetest moments are like the people who don't believe who come in and say like, "Can I be here?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they stay. Because I've also had people come in and find out and leave, and I'm like, that's fine too. Like, I get it. Like, a lot of people have hurt by people who love Jesus. Because
Yeah, either directly or friends or
yeah,
I think that's a tragic thing. However, they've probably also been hurt by non-Christians. So
yeah, yeah,
I've been hurt by Christians. I've been hurt by non-Christians.
yeah, same.
I probably will be hurt by people again this year.
Yeah, I mean, people hurt people. It's an unfortunate consequence of the fall.
Yeah.
Because we don't always know how to handle things or what to do in situations, and we lash out sometimes.
Yep, and I'm sure I will hurt and disappoint people again this year.
Yeah.
It'll be really fun. Actually, it'd probably be terrifying. But what would be really fun is if there was a tally list that God would send you at the end of the year, and like, this is how many times you hurt people this year. Like I said,
I keep a record of wrongs for myself sometimes,
Ooh.
which is terrible. I don't advise doing it, guys. I grew up in a very work-based household, so at one point in my walk, I thought I had to work harder to earn salvation, and I burnt myself out, and I hurt a ton of people in the process.
Yeah.
And then there was reconciliation, praise the Lord, but there was a lot of pain and a lot of things that shouldn't have happened, and I did a lot of things I shouldn't have said and did in my work-based salvation. So let me tell you, you don't do good works to get saved. You do good works because you are saved, and it's an overflow. But so I know, and I look back and I kind of beat myself up, and I'm like, that's not God. That is not God. But like, it's tough because I don't want to make those same mistakes again.
Yeah, that's hard when you continue to make the same mistake, and you do know it, and you keep doing it.
Yeah.
What's more fortunate at times is when you're making a mistake and someone points it out to you in love, and you're unaware of it, and then you're able to adjust and change and grow. That's a blessing when that happens.
That's always so sweet when they come to you in love.
Yes. Not
in like, I'm better than you, not in I'm holier, but like, hey, like, I love you, and because I love you, I've noticed this thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
Yeah. And the thing is there's a difference in tone and tenor, because they could say exactly the same thing and be judgmental.
Yeah, I've been there.
Right. So it's not the words, it's their actions and behavior that tip the hand of where are they coming from.
Yeah.
Are they the person that does that to other people, and other people are afraid to hear what they have to say, or a different way of, I'm trying to remember who said it, but people are either happy when you enter the room, or people are happy when you leave the room. So which are you for people? Are you the one that makes everybody's face light up when you come or when you go? So
I've been both. But like, I can admit it, right? And that's my thing. Like, I'm not always like this, like, straight laced, always been perfect, always been Jesus loving. Like, even when I was Jesus loving, like, there were moments in my walk where people were happier when I left the room. And like, I get it, because I was super legalistic. So like, beating the law with a hammer, like, that's not how Jesus does things. That's how I wanted to do things.
Well, and if you're just trying to control the sin that you have, and all that you're doing is a sin modification system, you're taking it out of Jesus' hands for what he's already done for you.
Yeah.
I don't need a sin management system. I need Jesus.
Oh my gosh. The pastor was talking about James. He says the Bible isn't like a sin management program. It's a sin eradication. Like, it's not a, like, like, I'm going to sin on Monday, Friday, and Saturday and go to church on Sunday and then go back to the same sin on those days every week. He's like, there's a break of covenant there, and you should probably figure out why that you're still doing that thing. He's like, no human is perfect, and we all fall short. However, if you're continuing to repeat the same sin over and over again, why? And so he's like, it's not like a, management program. Jesus wants to like cleanse you.
Yeah, we do often as Christians try, manage it for other people, manage it for ourselves, talk about how good we are.
Justify it.
Yeah, justify it or, excuse it.
It's not hurting anyone.
Yeah.
It's hurting you.
Uh,
And I think that goes like back to like loving oneself, right? Is like so often we can't admit that we're hurting ourselves. And when someone called out that not loving yourself is sinful because the Lord says love your neighbor as yourself, how can I love my neighbor if I don't love myself well? Because that's gonna trickle over eventually. That's gonna come out that like I'm loving out of a half empty cup. And I'm not necessarily for like all like the me stuff, but I do think like there is some responsibility of like taking care of yourself, like eating well, exercising, taking a shower, being in communion with other believers. Like I do think like there's something important about loving yourself well. And like that means like, maybe going buying a new pair of shoes because your sneakers are holy. And things like that. Because people see that and
oh, yeah,
they know.
Right. There is a level at caring for yourself that and one of the best examples that is out there, and I wish there was a better one because it's annoying that every time I get on an airplane, they have to tell me this after years and years and years and hundreds and thousands of miles flown, but they still have to tell me every time I get on, in the event of an emergency, put your mask on first and then help the person next to you. Yes, I know this. I first heard it, when I was probably a kid, years before I even got on an airplane, I knew this. Okay. Nobody needs to hear this. This is common knowledge. It's also regulations and they're not going to stop. So I'm complaining. I'm complaining for no reason. But the point is, it's not selfish to put your mask on first.
Yeah.
It is necessary because if you are in the process of helping someone else and you pass out, you've done neither you nor them any good.
Exactly.
And so I need to, if we go back to what was in the chat earlier, if I need to find the plank in my own eye, I need to do that first before pulling the speck out of somebody else's eye.
Yeah.
And so it's not about sin management. It is about reflection on who I am so that I can be more a reflection of the one that loves me and the one that I love and the one that died for me and the one that died for everyone else. And so that's the level at what you want to strive to be. Not I'm gonna be more righteous than everybody else because look at all the good stuff that I have done. It just doesn't work that way.
No. I just gotta say this right quick to Sunshine. Baby can't eat if mama isn't well fed.
Oh yes, yeah. I saw that out of the corner of my eye. I didn't read the full thing. Yeah, that's so true. If mom who has a child who is nursing is not feeding herself and caring for herself, the child is going to struggle and suffer, and neither one of them is going to survive. Oh, that's so good, Sunshine. Yeah, that's so good. Thanks for pausing and getting that. I was just going to redirect us. So
no, you're good. I saw that and I felt like I need to say something to that because that's so good.
Yeah, and maybe one of those things that we do at times is run ahead of pointing out the things that we think others can fix when we don't know how to fix the problems we have. Yeah.
Because sometimes it's so easy rather than looking in a mirror and trying to figure out how to fix our problems to see someone else's problem and be like, I know how to fix that. So let me go help them rather than like helping yourself first. Right.
So sometimes we can be judgmental because we see a problem that's like, boy, that's an easy problem to fix. You should just fix that now. You shouldn't have any, it should be fixed and you never have that problem again. Well, if it was easy for them, they would have probably already fixed it.
Oh my gosh. A great example I have of this is when I was in ministry school, there was a pastor who helped this young man get a job to start earning money, to start supporting his family, but he never taught him how to manage the money. And so this kid, who was like 18, first job, trying to take care of his household. So like he had a little brother, trying to take care of his mom, was spending his money on like frivolous things because he hadn't had money before.
Right.
And so the pastor got mad at him and yelled at him. And then the Lord convicted him and said, you didn't teach him.
Yep.
He's like, I sent you to teach him how to do this. And rather than teaching him, you judged him.
Yeah.
And the pastor repented and apologized to this kid and then sat down and said, hey, let me teach you how to manage a checkbook. Let me teach you how to pay bills. Let me teach you like how to like be financially wise. And so sometimes like we'll fix one problem, but not teach how to maintain. And I'm guilty of this. And so like then they fall and then we get mad like, well, why didn't you know? Well, if you don't teach someone something or someone's never been exposed to like, you know, that before, how are they to know?
Yeah. And
like you don't know what you don't know.
Well, not only that, but there is relational equity that you have to spend to help someone get out of the circumstance they're in. And we're usually too busy to do that. We want to just be able to, I was going to make this point earlier, we're more comfortable with just giving to the church money sometimes and feeling like we did enough, and we don't actually want to be relationally involved with the people that need the help. And so it'd been so much easier in that situation to judge the person for not doing what was right. I did all of this work to get him a job, and now he's squandering what I gave him. I'm through with him, rather than realizing I didn't do enough, and I need to invest more to change the circumstance than a simple fix that I thought would do it all. We're pretty good at that, and I would say in society today of just want to give something to the problem that doesn't fully solve it, but we don't want to give the time to invest in people that's required for it.
Yeah, it's like putting a Band-Aid on something and hoping that it'll go away, but the Band-Aid falls off and the wound's still there. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm just picturing because we often have this conversation around here because we have a bike trail and doing CPR, and what do you do if someone is injured and bleeding, and my wife has actually and I come across someone who fell down, had a concussion, and we had to call 911. So we have those conversations regularly. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you fell down, you probably have a concussion. Let me give you a Band-Aid. You can get back on your bike and go down the trail again. Like, how irresponsible would that have been?
Oh, for real.
And not helpful to just say, let me help you back on your bike. Don't fall over again. That's a dumb thing to do.
Probably idiots. They have a concussion and they're going to fall over again.
Right. It was like, no, we stayed with them until the ambulance showed up. And then what was really cool, we didn't end up doing this because we had bikes of our own. One of the ambulance people that showed up asked where he was at, took the bicycles in his own vehicle to drop them off so that he could get the bicycles into his car so he could go to the emergency room. I can remember if it was husband or wife, whichever way it was, the one that fell.
Yeah.
So that all vehicles could be there and the other could be present. It was beautiful.
Wow.
It was beautiful. It was, I'm going to do what is necessary to give you everything you are in need of in your circumstance of need right now.
Come on.
Yeah. That was super cool.
Yeah.
We've mentioned a few times. I was going to go back to this. We mentioned Reach Conference a few times. Were you at the first Reach or just the one that was last year?
Oh, okay. No, I wasn't at the first Reach conference because I thought it was a Mormon convention.
Sorry. I don't know how that idea came across, but
I lived with some very weird people, okay? And it was a whole thing and a half, and I don't know how we got there either.
Okay, well, we'll put a pin in that thought. And okay, so you weren't there first year. Okay.
No. I just wanted to share why. I had to confess that at least somebody once in my life. So you're the first person that I've confessed to. Well, of course, you have to confess to people, but
it's out there on the internet. You know what,
Roman? If you ever hear this, don't judge me. I'm sorry.
No. It's going to be one of the, whatever the game show is next year, it's going to be one of the answers on the game show now is who thought that Reach was a Mormon convention? The answer is
I would die.
I'm to quote Jean-Luc Picard, make it so. Make it so.
Oh, please. Someone get with Romans about that, because I don't think I would lose my composure. I would be on the floor doubled over belly laughing.
Oh, no. I know what hilarious. I know what it needs to be. You know when they're doing the scavenger hunt thing? That's where it needs to be. It needs to be in the scavenger hunt. So I've not participated in the scavenger hunt, but I
haven't either.
I have helped people along the way, and there's some really obscure questions, and you got to go find the person that's the answer to it. That's what it needs to be. You're going to be part of that scavenger hunt now.
Oh,
Yep.
yes. I'll have to message Aki or Romans.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah,
remind me later.
Yep. That definitely needs to be a thing. My goodness.
That is gold.
That'll be like, there's going to be so many laughs when they get to that. Here's the clue. Al, there's going to be so many laughs, and there's so many people going, what? Who? There's going to be no clue unless you listen to this podcast. There we go.
Yeah. It'll literally be golden. It'll be like a golden nugget.
Oh,
Can't
yeah.
find it.
That'll be, oh.
I laughed so hard I cried. Thank you.
And this is why you stay 2 hours into the podcast, friends. This is why you stay.
This is where you get the good stuff.
This is where you get the good stuff. We are off the rails. We don't know where we're going, and we have no idea what's next. So, I miss Mama Bricks. I missed it.
Hey, Mama Bricks.
So, I know that you were early on in the server in the Discord server for Reach. So where and how did you get connected with Reach?
My sister. She found out about it, and she messaged Roman a ton of cosplay questions. And so I sometimes get dragged along in her whims, and this was one of her whims. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I guess I'll check it out. And then she's like, oh, we're going to that, by the way. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I found out about the partnership thing, and I was like, do I apply? Because I'm like, I'm not necessarily a Christian streamer. I'm a streamer who's Christian. And she's like, well, try it. So then I messaged Roman about applications to be a Twitch, a Reach partner, and how that all works. And then I got signed on, and then that's how that happened. I found out from Quirky, who found out from, I don't remember how she found out, actually. Bless you, Mama Bricks.
I'll just ask her when she's on. So we don't need to have you answer her question. She'll be able to answer that. So you'll just have to stay tuned for that podcast.
Yeah, but I like because we had heard about it prior, with thinking what it was, and then we then when we learned that it wasn't, and then I was like, oh, I'll check it out. That sounds pretty cool. And then I I'm so glad.
Okay. Well, I will say, I went to Reach the first year. I was early on in conversations with Romans. We mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was on the podcast or if it was before we went live, that I had met Romans several years before Reach Conference. And so when he said, hey, we're thinking about doing alpha, I'm like, I already was planning on doing alpha and trying to do that on my stream. So I'm like, yeah, I'm on board. What do you need?
Oh, wow.
How can I help? I got training for alpha, I want to say in 2006. And so I have done alpha program at 3 churches at least, maybe 4 churches. And then it's like, yeah, I want to do that online. That sounds great. I think that would work. So I was an early one who was on board and trying to say, yeah, I think this is a great thing. I had already been working to try to connect streamers together and loved the different communities that were developing. So I'm like, yeah, there's another one. I'll be there. This will be wonderful. So I didn't expect when all of a sudden there was, hey, we're going to do cosplay. And there were a few people that were VTubers the first year. And I don't know a lot of the VTubers. That's not where I usually watch, and maybe it's more VTubers are on in the evening and I'm more on in the morning or afternoon. And I just
a lot of VTubers stream in the evening.
Right. So I just didn't run into as many VTubers perhaps. So when it was talking about doing cosplay, I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Let me see about that. And so I hung out in that channel a lot. And then got to watch the conversations going on about cosplay and connecting and doing all that. And I was like, boy, I guess I'm full on in this. And then I did not know I was going to cosplay every day to start with.
I was so happy that you did.
And then it was like, all right. And you were all talking about, well, I've got one for morning and one for afternoon. And oh my goodness, I'm like, I don't have that many, but.
No, so Corky and I have been running the anime circuit since like 2012. So like we've been running the anime circuit since we were teenagers. So like
Yep.
like the part of the issue is like when you go to those conventions, like people are always changing. You have people who don't. Like I'm one of the people who usually don't. I'll bring a costume to wear and then normal clothes to change into when I'm just done with it. And then you have my sister, people like my sister who change 3 times in a day.
Yeah.
And both are fine. Both are fine.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I got one costume. It's like this isn't gonna fit anybody's theme. But I was going to Ren Fair with my kids, and we decided to go to Kilt Weekend. So I'm like,
yes.
oh, I'm going to buy that, and I'll be able to use it for Reach. And there's other occasions I'll be able to use it, and that'll be fun. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And then it was like, okay, I got to have another one. And I did Tim for an event, knowing that I was going to go to Reach and knowing that cosplay was going to happen. I held a local event to do cosplay. It was a horrible attendance. Nobody knew what it was and all of that.
Aww.
The
You tried though.
Yeah, I tried. And the advertisement was a problem. But hey, I had fun. And oh, we got another raid coming in.
Webby! Webby is one of my favorite people.
Yeah, Webby Pumpkin coming in. I'll wait till they start posting. I'll finish my thought while they come in. So I did that event, did that there, and then it was like, okay, the themes started coming out, and I was like, oh, I need to have one that's more gamer focused. So that's when I ended up doing The Witcher, and my wife and I did The Witcher for Halloween before went to Reach. So it's like, okay, and I'm already planning on when The Witcher, the new one, which has been promised for years, finally comes out, I'm going to cosplay and play at the same time. That's going to be fun.
You mean like a game?
Yeah, The Witcher game. They've been talking about one in the works for a long time, and it's supposed to be out soon-ish. When it happens, I don't know. But I'm gonna get it right away, and I'm gonna cosplay and play, which is.
Are you gonna stream it or no?
Oh yeah, I'm streaming the whole thing.
It'll be a blast. I suck at playing the Witcher games. I tried, but I love watching people play those games.
Yeah, well, I just figure it's going to be fun to be dressed as the Witcher, playing the Witcher. So welcome in, Webby Pumpkin. Hey, love you both. Love you too, man. Great to see you. Hope you were doing well. Yeah, it looks good, but you never played any of the Witchers, so you're super behind. Yeah. You saw the trailer for yesterday. Ooh.
I might have to look that up after.
I'm on the Discord. I did not see anything under the official news, but that might not go there. I wish you could get Witcher 1 to work. Oh, sorry to hear that. Okay, let me give a shout out to Webby Pumpkin here. Good to see you, friend.
Webby, I gotta say this. Your like intro song is so catchy. I love it. It's so cute.
Glad to have you here. Hope you had a great time over there. It doesn't tell me what you were streaming. What were you streaming?
Clear Expedition 33.
Oh, I've been playing that recently. It's a good game. I like it.
I'm a big Webby fan. We love Webby in this house.
Hey, it's all good. Webby was one of the ones that I knew before Reach, but not by much. Like I more knew of him, and we connected the first Reach, and it was like, you know, that whole thing. Actually, I don't know if you experienced this too with people that you knew that you've never met in person and you saw them at Reach. How was that experience for you? I'll just ask it that way.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
So people that you knew, either that you watched them like Webby Pumpkin or you knew them in Discord, what was it like to get together in person with people that you knew that were streamers?
So I actually met Webby at Reach for the first time. But other people that I had met in the Discord, it was like meeting long lost friends for me. One of my things is like a lot of my friends have always been online. So running the anime circuits and like doing different conventions, it was always an opportunity for me to meet my friends that I've never seen face to face. And so when I went to Reach, I'm just like, oh man, like these are people that I know and that I love. And now I get to look upon their face and see them. And I'm like, oh, how sweet is this? And so it was less awkward for me. Some of it was a little awkward because like I'm just like I forgot. Like being a VTuber, I didn't always know who was who.
Oh, right.
And so, funnily enough, there was one person, I think, at Reach who didn't believe that I was there, who thought I was lying and thought I was Corky. And they're like, "Oh,
Ah,
I didn't know you were here. You're not, you're kidding. You're not actually Katie. You're Corky." And I was like, "What?"
yeah. It's interesting though, because it's a different experience when it's just meeting somebody that you might know elsewhere in
Yeah.
person and you've never met them before. When you watch somebody for hours, or you hang out, or they hang out in your chat for hours, or you hang out in Discord for hours, you have real relationships that have developed.
Yeah.
And it's on some level, and this might sound strange to people that have never experienced it. It's kind of like getting together with your best friends from high school or college.
Yes.
It's like a reunion that you're having, and it's the first time you've met people, but it's that level of excitement of getting together. It's like a reunion of, hey, we're getting everybody together, and it's
Oh my
it's just
gosh, yeah.
fantastic.
So like my roommate, the one roommate I knew well, two roommates one roommate I knew well because it was my sister. One roommate has been in my community and Corky's for a while. And then one was completely new. But it was so sweet. Like it was like the best weekend because like we actually stayed out, like there was like this little fire pit on the church, and me, Dragon Can, who's a friend from my community, and like a couple of the people just sat and talked for hours about like hard topic stuff. And I think that was my favorite part about Reach because I love dialoguing with people. Like I talked to you, I talked to Webby, Neko Spy, Dragonkin, Sugar Chapone, Aki a little bit, but he was super busy, so it was hard to grab him. And like so many other people, like I wanted to go to panels. Instead, I stood around and talked for hours.
Yeah.
Getting to know people and talking Bible and getting to meet the people who like had sponsored the coffee and talking to the people who were like, you know, from the church and getting to know them a little bit. And it was so lovely. 1010, if you want good fellowship and to make wholesome friends, come to Reach.
Oh, absolutely. And there's like I'm on other conventions and things, and they all have their own uniqueness to them
Yeah.
around that. And other conventions will have this too that I've been at that are Christian conventions and nerdy conventions. You'll stay up late and talk. But it was, oh my goodness, the Airbnb I was at, I didn't go to bed before 3 a.m.
Yeah.
The whole time. And then I was up at 6:30 like I got 3 hours of sleep a night max the whole time I was there. And it was like, by the time Sunday night rolled around and my flight was canceled and I wasn't going home, I just crashed in the hotel before getting up and coming home. So it was like like you are present, but there is FOMO, because if I like, and that my youngest had this as a kid. He always thought the good stuff happened after he went to bed. And so he would not go to bed because he thought all the good conversations happened after he went to bed. All the fun happened after he went to bed. And it was so true. It was like staying up with a conversation, suddenly looking at the clock and going, oh my goodness, it's 1:30, 2 o'clock, we should go to bed. And then talking for another hour and a half before you finally go, okay, we're going to bed now. I've got to go and do that. And we did it the year before in the hotel lobby. We were.
Yeah, that's
we were
the one thing I heard about that I missed. That like, cause I talked to Mama Peaches a lot. Adore her. She's like, yeah, we would all stay up late in the hotel lobby, and I went to, with the exception of like I think the second and third night, I went to bed at a reasonable time. The first night I had to because we drove, and I was like, everyone was like, come to Waffle House. I'm like, guys, I can't keep my eyes open. I'm gonna fall asleep if I order Waffle House. Oh, yeah. I gotta be real. Like, if I can fall asleep on my own streams, I can fall asleep in a waffle at Waffle House surrounded by friends. Okay.
Well, I haven't fallen asleep in a stream yet, so. But
I have.
Oh my.
It's okay. So the one time I fell asleep, it was micro sleep. I was doing a 24-hour stream. I hit like 18 hours or so. And I'm like, I couldn't. Like, I was like, guys, I gotta go take a 2-hour nap. Like, cause it was like eyes closed, jerk awake. I closed, jerk awake. I feel like whiplash. And then the other time was like the other day, Elaine and I were streaming on our other channel. And I have been having a hard time sleeping. I'm just like up like processing like I'm day person by trade, night owl by nature. And so my conversations with the Lord usually happen at night. And so,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I've just been like awake until like sometimes almost midnight, and I have to be awake at 4 a.m. And so I'm just like she just kept, and I knew if I had said I'm tired, I want to go to bed, she would have stopped streaming. And she was having so much fun. I'm like, no. And then I got a headache and my eyes closed and I was out like a light for like 10 minutes.
Well, when I was younger, I definitely was a night owl. I was never a morning person. However, that's where I am now. I'm a morning person. I get up. I like to be up on schedule, even on the weekends. I just feel like my day is wasted if I don't get up early.
Yeah,
but
I feel that.
But I do not get up as early as my mom, who gets up at 4 a.m. and she's retired and she still gets up at 4 a.m.
No, on my off days, I get up about 7:30.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I'd ideally like to get up at 9, but then I feel like my day is wasted.
Yeah.
Because I have to go to bed at a reasonable hour, whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever reasonable means, yes. So anyway, back to Reach. What other than the meeting of people and the excitement of that and having all those conversations, was there anything else that's just a takeaway from Reach that helped you as a streamer or helped you in your faith?
Honestly, yeah, Caitlin Glass's talk.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, Caitlin Glass is a director and a voice actor in the anime community, and she's a Christian, and the anime community is largely secular. And she's just like, guys, I'm just me. I love Jesus. I love my friends. I go to work. And she talked about like how there have been moments where like she's like taken roles and things she regrets, but then she learns how it's impacted others. And she's like, in hindsight, I wish I wouldn't have taken those roles, but then I learned how they've impacted others. And she's like, they're still not great roles and I don't love them. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, like, how many times have like I've done something or like, you know, like the streaming space is largely secular, right? But I'm like, I just like, it was so encouraging to just love the Lord, be who he made you to be, and love people. And like that helped me so much because I'm just like, look, she's doing what she loves. She's honoring the Lord. She loves the Lord. She tries to do all things to honor him. And she acknowledges that sometimes she doesn't because we all fall short. But she goes to work and she loves people. And she acknowledges that her and her coworkers have disagreements on certain things. They don't always see eye to eye. But it's not like you don't have to like go out with a Bible and beat someone on the head to be a light in the world.
And Peter says, always be prepared to give a reason for the hope that you have. We were talking about hope earlier at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's that level of, if I'm not living a way that is demonstrating there's something different about me, then people aren't going to ask me about the hope I have. So living as a Christian, as we're talking about, being a streamer who is a Christian is an important role that's needed because there are people who will never go to a stream where the person says, I'm Christian right up front. Now, there's a difference of hiding it and brushing it off and being ashamed and not talking about it. But when it's like, yeah, I am.
I specifically used a Christian tag, not because I'm a Christian streamer, but because I want people to know, like, I'll randomly share things about God in my thing, or we'll be playing a game and like, I'm like, oh, this relates to the Bible in this way. And so I don't want people to be taken off guard, like, oh, she's like a believer. I want them to know that I'm not hiding it. It's not always a prevalent conversation, but there are moments where there are teaching lessons in video games that are applicable.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, like Supersonic saying, as your church pastor recently said, always keep your oil lamp lit. Yes.
Yeah.
And the best way I can describe it was when I was newly married, had lost my job, and getting asked by our church was large enough to have a middle school pastor and a senior high pastor, and they were both asking me to volunteer with the Sunday school classes they were teaching or volunteer with the youth group. And I didn't know what was different about them. But I didn't, like, if they asked me, I didn't ask what it was. I said yes, because I got to spend time around them. Even if it was the 5 to 10 minutes beforehand and the 5 to 10 minutes afterwards and whatever volunteer role I had, it was like I wanted to spend time with these guys. They had something I didn't know and I didn't understand. And so hanging out and being around them was such a value to me as a young dad. And they're younger than me. So it wasn't like, you know, the only thing for they had was a better relationship with Jesus than I had.
I think that's what the Bible means too when it says provoke those to jealousy.
Yeah.
I'm like, because like, I've met people like that. I'm like, I want to be around you because you know a part of God that I don't.
Yeah.
And I want to learn that part. So yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely that. And I have later got to tell those guys that and share that with them. And I've been able to share that with other people. We were talking earlier though too. It's like, you know, we don't always get to know the impact we have on people. People come in our streams and maybe we just provided them peace and love for a moment that they needed it, and they're never going to be on the same time we are again. Or they're never going to come back into our stream. Like we've had 2 raids today, and maybe there was someone in those streams that made it over here for this conversation that needed to be here today, and they're never going to come back. I don't know. But I hope that our conversation was, you know, seasoned with salt and filled with light so that it did something to impact them.
Yeah. So you asked me earlier if like my community has blessed me. I think one of the biggest blessings that I get from my community is when they're like, hey, can I DM you a personal prayer request?
Yeah.
That's like really like personal and close to their heart.
Yep.
And I'm just like, the fact that you like trust me enough to be like, can you pray for me in this way? I'm just like, oh man, Jesus, let me steward this well.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Now, as a pastor, I get a lot of people that do it directly in my stream, and it's part of my stream, but it's still that same thing. And I usually do in my stream say, thank you for trusting this community, because they're sharing in the stream, trusting the whole community with this prayer request. Even though I'm the one praying for you, they are praying with me, and you trust us with that. And it's amazing how many people who are not Christians will show up, feel like it's a safe place to share something, even if they're not asking for prayer. And then when you say, can we pray for you? They're like, sure.
Yeah, I think like you, Jay, and like a handful of other streamers have like, because I noticed how you guys pray on stream, like you'll stop and like pray for the prayer request. I started doing that in my streams. So like when people ask for prayer on stream, I'll stop and I'll pray for that prayer request. Sometimes it has to wait until I'm in a good spot to do so because video gaming.
Right.
But like I've been more intentional about that, and it's been so sweet. So like, thank you guys for doing that and encouraging that. And I think that's one of the blessings of like meeting y'all one of the blessings from meeting y'all at Reach is like seeing that walked out in elegance and love.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of what the body is supposed to do. We sharpen each other by what we do and the examples we set. And like, if you'd never thought about it, would you automatically assume that to be able to do that on stream? Some people might, but others won't until they see it done. And so we get to be examples. We get to be encouragement. We get to be, you know, like if there wasn't, you know, you and your sister doing the cosplay and leading that, it probably wouldn't have happened. And then look at,
she was so excited.
Look at what happened. And also, I'll say leading the way too. B. Gilbert, who has not yet been on the podcast, someday he'll be on here. He was the first talk by the streamers, and there was talks by streamers as well as the talks by really well-known, you know, I'll say celebrities for lack of a better word. But you know, like your normal conference speakers, it's like, oh yeah, your person who's in the audience getting to go up and actually, you know, give a talk. And so he was the first one, and he was cosplaying as Thor, and he gave his talk, and I was I was planning to not cosplay for my talk. And then I was the first talk of the next day, but then the times all got switched around, and it was like, I'm the first thing of the day. Well, then I don't have time to, you know, come do my talk and get dressed later and do this. Like, all right, I guess I'm going to give my talk in cosplay, which I never thought about before.
I think Pre did hers in cosplay too, right? I think Pre did her talk in cosplay too, right?
Pre did her talk in cosplay too. So. I know at least 3 of us did. Then there was more cosplay that happened for games that happened as well, or talk shows that happened. And it was like, okay, so this wasn't just a side thing of we're over here doing this. It became we're part of the whole community as we do this. And that was kind of like the an unexpected thing that was like, I had no plans of doing that. I also, we're in a church. I want to be respectful. What was funny though, no, I didn't do mine as Garrett. I was dressed as Tim the Enchanter. And so as Tim the Enchanter, if you don't know, Tim the Enchanter has horns on and dressed in red and black. And so Romans came up and said, can you announce before your talk that you're not Satan?
I think that was one of the things. So like when my sister approached me after talking to Romans about how she was going to help head up cosplay, I looked at her and I'm like, that's been an answer to prayer for you, because you've been praying to help a convention with cosplay for so long. And so when she got to do it and she got to talk to like Romans and Aki and Emmy and really like figure out the rules and bounce ideas off of people. And I think she did it so beautifully of like, anyone can cosplay.
Yes.
But there's a godly way to cosplay. And there are rules for modesty's sake, because I think I think modesty is subjective, but I also think certain things are inherently immodest. And so the way she handled it was very well. And so when cosplay became what it was at Reach, I know it was a answered prayer for her, and it was so sweet to see it finally fulfilled. And I was very, very happy for her.
I did not know that. That's very cool. I love how God will do that. So this is to go back to part of the conversation I was just mentioning about the two youth pastors that I wanted to be around. Well, then when I got a step more involved and I started doing drama ministry, it was like, wow. So yeah, I took over doing drama ministry for my church. We hadn't been doing drama for very long, but I started doing it. It was like, I had no idea God could take something I love and let me do it for the kingdom. And it was like, I can dress in a costume, be up on stage, and deliver a message that's going to impact people's lives. It was like, oh yeah, that was something that was cool. So
that is so sweet.
So the cosplay almost brings that back around for me. On a level of it's almost like cosplay wasn't a thing back when I was in college and in drama, or I probably would have been doing it all along. It wasn't a thing yet. So there I'm outing myself of how old I am, but
that's okay.
That's okay.
Young in spirit.
It's amazing how young people think I am, and I just have to laugh when nope. I'm not that young.
My pastor found out how old I was because we went and met his wife, because Corky wanted to share something with him on Sunday, and they're like, so how old are you guys? And we shared, and they're like, no, and I was like, yeah. They're like, we thought you were like 21. I'm like, I get that a lot.
Yeah, it's good at times and it's bad at times, but
right. I mean, hey, when I'm like 60, I'll look like I'm 40, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, I will say, however, and this is super weird and irrelevant, but I was never carded until I was 40.
Oh.
Yeah, I have been carded more times than I can count in the last 5 years. So it's like people have just, and this is my opinion, have become disrespectful of being able to judge people. They don't believe people can judge people age. There is no way that anybody thinks I'm under 21. What I feel when you card me is you are believing that I am deceptive and lying to you. I don't feel like you are congratulating me on my looks. I feel like you're insulting me, that I am deceptive and I am trying to pull a fast one. I'm doing something illegal. I am not. I wasn't carded until after I was 40. So now I feel very bad. And you know what I usually do as a rule, whatever it is, if you card me, I will not purchase it. Other than places like the grocery store that card everybody because they got to enter it in the computer,
Yeah. I personally wouldn't card you. So no offense, no offense taken. But oh my gosh, it was this one time when I was a teenager and I was a cashier, and I generally couldn't tell this woman's age. Like because I wasn't good at reading ages at that point because I was a new cashier. And so I asked for her ID and she got so offended. And I was like, ma'am, I generally don't know how old you are. I'm like, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to make your life difficult. Like, I'm new to this and I don't want to risk my job. So can I please have your ID, or I'm gonna have to like, I can't sell you this because I'm unsure. And so she huffily handed me her ID. But I'm like, most times there are signs that you can tell. But like, yeah, I definitely feel like people have gone to carding everyone because, or like, especially like, I don't want to say older people in the sense of like old people, but people who are like above the age of carding.
Oh yeah.
Because they're like, they either don't want to offend people or like, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, we're just on a side topic there for no reason.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. Well, then, just coming back, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to share?
I don't think so.
Okay. I always give people that opportunity because maybe God put something on your heart, or maybe as you're thinking about things, you're like, hey, here's some important things for people to know. So I like to, at least, give you that opportunity to be able to do that.
Oh, and you know what? Here's what I'll say. Like, God made you in his image, and you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and each of us are different, and that's okay. If you like video games, if you like reading mythology books, if you like reading church history books, like, God made you with your interests for a reason, and he can use that to reach people for the kingdom. So don't shed away from who you are, and don't let the world tell you that you have to be different. Pursue God first, and he'll make your path straight.
There you go. Fantastic. Well, I have had...
That's me preaching at myself.
Well, that's pretty much true. That's pretty much true that that most of the time you have to preach the message to yourself before you can deliver it to people. And there's been plenty of times where I'm like, I don't want to say this. I don't want to bring this. And yet that's what God will give me is, here's what you need. I'm like, but I haven't done it. Yeah, you need to do that. And it's really hard to give a message that you are not living.
Yeah, it is. We all need to remind ourselves of scripture. I pray that the Lord writes, like, for him to write his word upon my heart, I need to be in the word so he can bring it to remembrance and actually write it upon my heart. It's not like he can't write something that I don't know. So, yeah.
Well, I hope everybody here has had a wonderful time hanging out today. If you want to take a peek and see if there's somebody that is live right now that we can bless and raid out to, I usually let the guests do that. And if we're both streaming, we'll do a double raid. And if not, we'll just go somewhere and bless everybody else that's still
Oh my gosh,
up.
there's so many people on right now. Who do I usually not raid that we could raid? That would be a blessing. Lady Lark and Ginger are streaming.
I do not know them.
Oh, Lady Lark is great. So is Mr. Ginger. It looks like they're doing Bible stuff.
Okay, you want to spell that in the chat? Because as I look, I'm not finding it.
No, you're good. I got you. I'm copying and pasting it now.
Okay, there we go. There we go. We can raid over there. So this podcast will be out to anybody who's here. It'll be a while. So I streamed all the new episodes to start with. I began in December, and the first one will be out next week. So if you just figure all that time, we're the beginning of January. You got about 4 or 5 episodes that'll be out before this one does. And that gives me, so when I go to a conference and I'm gone for a week, if I miss an episode, I've got plenty, and we won't miss a week of the podcast coming out. So, yeah, it's been fun doing that. Like every conversation has been so unique and different. It's truly a blessing, and I get to know people. Like we had several conversations that reached long conversations, and I'm still learning and getting to know you better. It's one of those things. I wish I could sit and hang out in people's streams all the time and ask all kinds of questions. Same. It's just easier to get you on a podcast or in a conversation and just sit there and chat.
Hey, if you ever want to have me back on, I'm game.
Well,
There's so many of
I may have to do a different themed podcast or have people on my own channel.
Oh,
but this one I really want to stay as niche as I am of, hey, come on and tell me how you got started on Twitch and what you're doing. But I may have anniversary ones where I'll do a panel or something like that. Oh, and
you know what you could do for your personal channel? You could have the twin and I on and ask us about what it's like being a twin.
Ooh, okay. We could look at that. I was going to say the other thing I had preface at the beginning. Stay till the end. I've got something to tell you. So far, I've had Twitch streamers on and asked them about being a Twitch streamer. And this week, I was thinking about there are other people that are so valuable in the Twitch community that are mods and are never going to be a streamer and have no plans on being a streamer. So I'm planning on the month of March to have mods on. Now, I don't know how this is all going to work out, how many I'll have, but I'll probably do a panel of 2 or 3 mods that are mods. So I might need some help finding more mods than I know from different channels, but I'm specifically looking for mods that do not stream. So I know plenty of people that mod that are also a streamer, but I want mods that do not stream because...
I think I know one I could recommend.
Yeah, that'd be great. So I'm going to start posting in different places around that. I'm going to start with my mod 5 Luces, who's not here, who she usually is. With her, she doesn't stream. And so I want to bring her on and do that. So I'm going to find a time that works for her to do that. But my thought is to be able to do it through the month of March, have some mods on. I don't know if I'll be able to get 4 episodes. Maybe it'll be 2 or 3. But I want to do more than one and highlight some of them because they're so valuable in the community. And it could also be a Discord mod, too. It doesn't have to be a streamer mod. Because
I definitely know a Discord mod
that
you could. I'll reach out to him and connect y'all if he's interested.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to post it on theChurch.digital's Discord. I'll post it in my own Discord when I'm trying to do those and invite people in. But if you know someone, they are always welcome to DM me, and we'll try to make it work out. I figured doing a panel because if you're a mod, you may not be used to talking and holding a conversation like a streamer does. So I figure a panel will be a better way to do that than just straight up saying, hey, let me ask you a question, and your answer is yes, no, and that doesn't make for a great, interview.
That's one thing that you have to learn as a streamer. You have to learn how to talk. It's not every streamer starts that way. I definitely didn't.
And some of us are already talking for a living, and then we decided to be streamers, and it's like, I don't have any problem holding a monologue for 2 hours. But it's a whole lot more fun to have a dialogue.
Yes, that's true.
All right. Any last words, and then I'll start the raid.
Remember to eat food, drink water, and get sleep because you are important, and so is your health.
There you go. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'll roll the credits, and you'll be able to see when the next podcasts are coming up. I believe next Wednesday, the following Wednesday, and it might even be the Wednesday after that. It's going to be really weird, 3 Wednesdays in a row. But that's what we have coming the rest of the month. And there'll be a new episode available on Spotify, which the first intro, it's just an intro. It's 2 minutes, so it won't take you long to watch on Spotify. But otherwise, you can go find all the VODs over on YouTube. So just look for Control-Alt-Redeem, and you'll be able to find us. And eventually, we'll be in other spaces as well for the podcast. So thank you, everybody. It's been a blessing to have all of you. Great conversation in the chat. And KattieBugg, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was so lovely.
It is so much fun just to sit and chat. Have a blessed evening. I'm going to go find the podcast you did yesterday as well with Fedorable Will. That's going to be a blessing.